accept your spoken commands. Please state speed and course.
Hello, and welcome to Swords of Slaughterdeep, episode 13, I think. I know I got it right on the stream title, but I'm not 100% certain now. With me is a full house, just about, at the last minute. So, we have got Dratacup playing Shrine, Robinson playing Lucian, Shard playing Nobwobble, Alexia playing Stephen. Which way around am I going to do these? I'll just go anti-clockwise, I suppose. So, Chrono Magistrate playing Onsha and Nightbites playing Carps. And when we last left our protagonists, they were in the Safe Haven Inn in what's known as the Adventurers Quarter of Waterdeep. And I just need to share the sheet, the map of the Adventurers Quarter. And now everybody should see this nice map of their immediate surroundings to give an idea of where they are. And the same map will be more visible on stream when I stop being big at the top of the page. So let's stop that now. Let's just go back to a normal size me, which is far better. So yeah, little word about the Adventurers Quarter map. As I mentioned in the last session, this came in the box set, the City of Splendors box set for 2nd edition, which was very cool. What they had done, some bright spark at then TSR, had actually built the Adventurers Quarter, full model 25mm scale, and they photographed that to provide maps and various images scattered around of assorted buildings. So this is just a top-down view of that model to provide the map.
I did
lots and lots of buildings are marked on here because, being a small section of the city, they detailed virtually the entire area, whereas most of the city, you've got a lot more buildings detailed in Waterdeep than in most fantasy cities, but it's such a big city that that's still a tiny amount. And
did they work out a way to get paid for spending 3 months model making?
Yeah, I think they got found a way to get paid for the model that they created for their game. That's just my personal theory.
Yeah.
You know what? That actually sounds very, very plausible.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that I can see gamers doing, because gamers tend to be sneaky like that.
I mean, let's face it. People write novels coming out of their games.
Yeah, indeed.
Why not get paid to play your game, to produce the maps that you've done for it?
Absolutely. So everybody is in the Safe Haven Inn, although I have put Carps and Nobwobble's tokens just outside the inn for the moment, because as I recall, they were going to head off and locate Jitterbug, Carps' familiar, who is elsewhere in this area somewhere, and keeping an eye on the bad guys. So I found out I figured out how you put your tokens onto the maps now. I finally remembered that, and you can drag them from the combat tracker, but not from the character sheet. So we've got a couple of characters on the map there, and the rest of the party is still being represented by the generic PC token there,
Question mark.
rather than put everybody on there. So yeah, that's always a good point. So can we just everybody say hello, and let's hope that people in chat can hear you.
I'm honestly trying to remember what Stephanie was doing.
I mean, it doesn't matter because you're Steven.
I mean,
this is true, but Stephen is aware of what Stephanie is doing. They're not like a dissociative personality.
Yeah, we're just
they
two
are
people.
both there at all times, but one of them is in control and the other one is not. I have a better idea. I know more about how that works that I will not be revealing by just telling you. There are situations which could occur which will trigger things that I already have in the back of my head that I know will happen in those situations. But we will have to wait and see what those situations are and whether they happen.
If they get ripped in half like Deadpool when he was merged with another person, will they become two separate people after we heal them?
They're under a curse. They're not a worm.
I think you're exaggerating the limits of what Andra's healing can actually do.
You might need to gain a few levels before that.
I think that would cost
Nothing
2
I know
resurrection
required.
spells if these are a thing in AD&D.
Resurrection. That's funny.
So let's just up the volume on the apparently quiet people.
Let me just double check that Raise Dead is still a 5th level spell.
It's just getting petty.
I love that.
A question. I know that elves can't be raised deaded.
Yeah, correct.
Correct,
Just
yeah.
checking where the half elves come.
Half elves come as elves.
Oh,
Yeah, we're just half undead. It's okay.
So, raised
Also-
dead, necromantic.
Your left-sided, right?
Yeah, we're weirdly ghoulish.
Oh no, you're all right. Half elves apparently do count. Can restore life to a dwarf, gnome, half elf, halfling, or human. Other creatures may be allowed at the DM's option.
other creatures are available. Ask your DM for details.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
Download the DLC.
we don't want to endorse any particular races here, so other races are available.
Other races are available means you go to the reincarnate spell.
Yes.
Oh yes, then other
Yeah.
races are certainly
Right.
available. But
Yeah.
you might, as happened in my case with one of my characters, go somewhat insane when the party keep killing you and reincarnating you because they don't like what you came back as.
Wow.
I think he died about 4 times in the space of 10 minutes.
That is, wow.
So yeah, when they finally got they gave up in the end. They never did get something they liked. He came back as a troll in the end, so they just polymorphed him.
Oh no, I had
Which was
in
heaping
one
insult
game
on top of injury, because they polymorphed him into a human because nobody in the party could remember he'd originally been an elf.
I had a ranger in one of my games who died, ended up in Loudwater, so there was no priest available to actually be able to cast Raise Dead or Resurrect, so he was left with Reincarnate as an option. He was playing a celestial ranger, so his mount was a celestial owl. He reincarnated as a hawk
Oh no.
Oh, I
and
love
ended up
that.
being a hawk riding a giant owl.
That is just beautiful.
I mean, at least when she got eaten due to her own and Andrea's foolishness, came back as a different flavour of elf. Much to her puzzlement, she came back as an elf that had basically been extinct in that area for
Yeah, well.
however long.
So, yes, you're in the Safe Haven Inn because you are trying to track down this girl and her rogue, shall we say, paramour. And investigating here, you have spoken to the proprietor, Travis Deepdale, who has told you that he did indeed visit with some of his associates the day before, with some suggestions as to activities that may or may not be good for business, i.e. they're trying to put the moves on this area and institute a protection racket. So your plan was to either wait for them to come back or try and locate them attempting this same trick on one of the other businesses in the area and have words. And as part of this, I believe that Knobwobble and Carps were going to go and figure out where Jitterbug was. So can I just say, before we get on with things, is there anything that those two characters want to do before they head off? Because if not, I'll jump straight to that.
Am I fairly safe in assuming that I've got like armor and weapons with me, or do I need to go and get them first? 'Cause I've got a feeling I'm probably gonna need them.
I think it's fair to assume that you do indeed have such things. I mean, it's not like you're wearing plate mail or anything. So
No.
your sort of armor is the sort that you would probably be wearing on a fairly everyday basis anyway.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Ondra is without his armor.
Okay.
Ruh-roh.
So that gives us some ideas as to immediate action for other people. If people do need to collect things from other locations and bring them to the inn, I know that Shrine had proposed that you all stay in the safe haven for at least a day or two.
Yeah.
Till this situation is sorted out.
Before Knobwobble walks out with carps, I gotta think fish. Names are hard. They're going to take off their pack and the bird feeder lamp and hand it to Shrine. Hey, can you watch this for a minute until we get back?
What's it going to do? I'm holding up.
It's food. It's food for Jitterbug.
Okay. And you won't need this one going to find Jitterbug.
No, she'll come by.
Are you expecting me to feed your...
I'm just hoping that you'll watch my bag and my stuff until I get back. You don't have to do anything with it.
I'm just not an animal person. You need to know this.
It's okay.
Just checking.
So yeah, basically getting rid of the pack and keeping the crossbow and the dagger because just in case.
Yep, that makes sense.
And then when we step outside and close the door, Knobwobble takes off their jacket, flips it around so it's now violently purple instead of green. So it's inside out. And then removes their white hair and mustache. And has shoulder length, fairly straight red hair. And no actual facial hair. Because Knobwobble is a she.
Oh.
Okay.
This is how you sneak up on people. And wanders off towards Jitterbug to see what she can see.
Well,
I've seen that once before in a game, and we never did figure in character realise that it was actually a female dwarf with a fake beard.
Oh, wonderful.
I am so fond of this. I love it.
Oh. Bless.
But, yeah, gonna head over there because they shouldn't be able to recognize me without my hair or my jacket.
Yeah, certainly if anybody who noticed you, such as, for example, the halfling that you sent Jitterbug to follow, will be looking for a completely different person. A cunning ploy. I must remember that I'm going to give you experience points for that. But for the moment, I'm just going to look up the name of the person you're following. Not that you know it, but I know it. I should know it. There we go. So, heading out of the Safe Haven Inn, you turn left at the Silversmiths, which is this building on the corner, and head along Grocer's Lane in the approximate direction that you're sensing Jitterbug. As you get closer, it becomes obvious to you that Jitterbug is somewhere around the watch station, which is the large stone building at AQ9.
Oh, that's a building. Sorry, I took that as part of the square. Okay.
That is actually a building. It is the watch guard post.
I see what you mean, Connor.
Oh no, that's interesting.
That's the watches building.
That is the watches building, yes. So it has an entrance on as we look at the map, on the right-hand side, in the alley that runs between it and whatever that walled building with two towers is that you passed on the way down here.
About right there.
Somewhere around about there, yeah. The entrance to the building is about there. But if you just amble past, there's nobody in that alley, and if you just amble past, you're feeling Jitterbug to your left. So either in the building or possibly just on the far side of it. You don't have an exact location.
Hey, Carps, you want to go up the main alley in front of the guardhouse or back behind it?
There's a chance they saw me, so whichever way we go, if they see me, I can run. You can get your bird fairly well undetected. I think the alleyway up the middle is probably the most obvious one. Wish me luck.
All right.
I shall head up the alleyway in between.
Okay.
Aha, authentic watch noises.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Right, so I'm just checking exactly what the empathic familiar link does. So you can... So a wonderful thing, it's an empathic link, so you can issue mental commands. That's not empathy, that's telepathy. It's just that the creature can't talk back. So you only get empathic responses back, but you can issue mental commands anywhere up to the mile.
Right.
That is normal. It's your normal radius of operation is up to a mile away. So you can indeed, if you want to, actually issue an instruction. You know, if there's something that you want to do to help you locate exactly where Jitterbug is, you can issue that instruction mentally from here. You can't do anything like seeing through Jitterbug's eyes.
Right, yeah.
But worth remembering, because I have forgotten to make sure that it's on your character sheet, so I don't think it is. You do gain... It's an interesting one. It's one of these things where they didn't update it properly from 1st to 2nd edition. You receive the heightened senses of your familiar, which grants you a +1 bonus to all surprise die rolls. Doesn't affect anything else, like awareness rolls, but it does give you a bonus on being surprised. So I think I might just give you that +1 bonus on spot checks as well, since they explicitly say that you've got it. I mean, in 3rd edition, that became effectively that familiars granted you the alertness feat.
Honestly,
but that was based on...
I'm going to roll terribly anyway, so anything that helps. Yeah, I'm going to send mental command. What? You can have 2. I told you your answer. Shoo. I'm going to send a mental command, so to speak, to get Jitterbug to fly out from where they are and come towards me.
Okay. So, yeah, Jitterbug will... You're not sure exactly where... It's a she, isn't it? Comes from? Because the first that you see of her is as she appears at the far end of this building that you're standing next to here, which is actually just a residential house. It's not labelled at all. And sort of comes flittering down the alley towards you, but definitely came from the left, so quite possibly in the space between buildings just past there. Meanwhile, Cops, ambling up the other side,
Yes.
finds the alley to be completely empty, but the door to the watch house is open. And although it's not actually guarded per se, there are a couple of watchmen lurking around just inside, obviously on duty but not really doing anything. So they're there if you want to talk to them. If you just walk past, they will look up as you come past, but otherwise pay no attention to you because you're not doing anything obviously
I shall clock
criminal.
that they're on duty for doing sweet FA and continue walking past, and then loop round. I suppose the only way I can go round is this way, and then look to meet up with Knobwobble.
Yeah, the safer way would certainly be to go around that side of the towers. Because
Yeah,
if you go the other way, then you're going straight towards where you think the bad guys might be. So, can I assume Knobwobble is going to wait for Carps to get back?
I'm actually gonna send Jitterbug to go and find Carps. Should be over there. Get his attention and huh?
Sorry, she said okay. Yeah, Jitterbug, of course, has the advantage of being able to travel as the hummingbird flies and not need to go round. So just straight over the top. And as you're about there, probably, yeah, you suddenly find that there is a small, brightly coloured bird flapping around just in front of your face. Doing that whole lassie flying up to you. I have no idea what noise hummingbirds make. And then, well, yeah, that's their wings, though.
Yeah.
And then flying away a little bit and then coming back, clearly wanting you to follow.
Yeah, all right, I'm going that way anyway.
Yeah.
Go on.
Which, yeah, as it happens, the quickest way, since you can't fly, is going to be back to where you were going anyhow.
Yeah, sort of down here. And
It's just that you will have a bird ahead of you.
Meanwhile, I'm going to get closer to that corner and see what I see in the alley behind.
Okay, now Knobwobble, being a bard, should have skills like. Do you get move silently as a bard? I don't think you do you?
I have climb walls, detect noise.
Detect noise. No, right. Hide in shadows and move silently are things bards don't apparently do.
Nope.
So.
No, they replaced it with overweening curiosity.
Yeah, that sounds about right. This is why I wish that my print-on-demand DMG had arrived yet, and it hasn't.
I thought it had.
Well, it has, but it hasn't reached me. It arrived when I was at work, and the sorting office to go and collect it is only open between 7 and 9 in the morning, and I catch a bus at 6:30 to get to work, so...
Yeah, fair play.
That doesn't really work for me. Nevertheless, you can sneak up to this corner as sneakily as possible. And I will make some rolls to see whether or not
I'm not so sure that she's actually being sneaky so much as just looking around.
Ah. Okay, that will change the roll that I make for being for you being noticed, but I will still be rolling for you being noticed. Right, so in this area, just around the corner, I'm intrigued as to whether or not that label is actually in the right place, because I can't help noticing that AQ10 is Business the Garrulous Grocer. And it's not on Grocer's Lane. So I'm wondering whether that's actually misplaced. Let me have a quick look in the book at the description for that business and see whether it should in fact cover the building that you're going past as well. Because that would make sense to me. Sorry about the fact that I haven't looked this stuff up in advance. I really should have done. I'm a poor GM.
I mean, isn't this the whole point of GMing? To look stuff up during the session?
Look stuff up. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the point.
Oh, screw it.
I like to leave it up to the players to look things up for me.
I tend to do the same thing. Especially when I know that there are players far more familiar with the system than I am.
right?
I mean, I usually make it a point to make sure that the GM doesn't have to look anything up, just because I will derail their story so much.
Right, so, in fact, this long building that you're now walking up the side of is indeed a building. There is a sign out the front labelling it the Garrulous Grocer.
This building is a
And-
building.
Yeah,
Is
the building is
a shop.
indeed a building.
I meant to say shop. It's not my fault. I can't help being a fool.
You said it's called the Garrulous Grocer?
It is indeed called the Garrulous Grocer, and it's large windows at the front with shutters that are currently open. The shutters hinge upwards rather than sideways and are then held in place with wooden supports so that you get that nice sort of shop front type affair, essentially, of an awning over the windows. And looking in through the windows as you came past the building, you can see that inside is a large but quite crowded shop with lots of shelves stuffed with all manner of foodstuffs. Some of it fresh, but you can also see an awful lot of sort of dried goods in various places around it.
Oh, looks like I found Safeway.
God, it's going back.
So as you approach the other side, you find that behind the building there are 4 people. One of them is the halfling that Jitterbug had followed here. The female halfling disguised essentially as a little girl, who looks a lot less like a little girl now. Just she hasn't done anything major. It's more changes in her attitude and body language than anything. But she no longer is looking young. She's just looking like a female halfling. With her are 2 large human gentlemen. They don't really look like fighters to you, but maybe they do look like brawlers. They've got that kind of build that you would expect to see causing trouble in the pub rather than causing trouble in the dungeon.
Sure.
And one more slender human male who is wearing leather armour, and of the 4 looks to be the most alert of them. He watches you as you come round the corner, but even though the halfling glances across in your direction following his gaze, she doesn't appear to recognise you and doesn't pay any attention to you.
Oh, hello. Bit lost. Thought I'd look around. Do you guys know where we are?
I know where we are. Is there somewhere you're looking for?
No, not really. I'm just exploring this place.
Well, where we are is right here. If there was somewhere you were looking for, I could tell you for a small fee. But as it is, I don't really think we have much to talk about, do we?
Stop. I'm trying to listen.
Your dad.
Don't.
So why don't you just move along?
Sure. Where should I move along to?
Well, if you go round there, Weeping Maiden's Run is round there. From there, you can find where you want to go, I'm sure. He points past the guard building.
Is he pointing back the way I came?
No, he's effectively he is from the direction he's pointing. He's suggesting that you carry on and turn right, back round past the guard building.
Oh, sure.
So-
Thanks. Appreciate it. Do.
Not
And I send a command to Jitterbug. All right, don't take him up that alleyway.
Okay, so Knight, make me a quick roll against half wisdom.
Half wisdom.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh God. So this is on a D20, right?
This is on a D20, yeah.
Looking for sevens. Well, it rolled a 1, but it didn't show up on the screen.
That's right. I'll accept that you rolled a 1. I'm fine with that. Okay, so as you are approaching, you and Jitterbug, you see a flash of colour as Knobwobble disappears up that alleyway. But then, a short time later, just after you hear but can't quite identify a conversation coming from that direction, Jitterbug suddenly gets back up in your face again, wings buzzing madly, and then goes past you back the way you came before, buzzing back to your face again, and then going past you back the way you came.
It wants me to follow again. Right, go on.
Okay, so yeah, Jitterbug will lead you up the alley that you've already been up once. This time, the guards will pay slightly more attention to you because you've just walked past them twice.
Yeah.
But they still don't actually do anything. They just sort of watch you go past with a, didn't he just come past kind of look. And at the far end, you find Knobwobble.
Ah, hi, Carps. I think we found the gang that we're looking for, but the two of us aren't going to be able to take them. There's two really big guys, one skinny guy that looks like he's smart, and the halfling lady.
Sounds like we need Shrene.
I think so.
Well, can the bird keep on and will we go and get Shrene?
Yeah. I'll have Jitterbug keep an eye on them. I need to go get my pack anyway.
Lucy might
Let's
be
run.
useful too for once.
I should probably go this way and leave the guard house alone and not attract suspicion.
It's starting to give me some funny looks.
Right, I think for the moment I'm going to take your tokens off the map because you are returning to the inn where the rest of them are, and we'll leave Jitterbug watching the villains behind the garrulous grocer. So, was Anja going to head off to collect gear, and was there anybody else going with him?
I don't think people should be wandering around on their own.
Well, if we are going to be getting into a potential altercations, then I think I'm going to need more defense than my robes currently offer me.
I tell you what, Lucian, why don't you guard Onga while he goes and gets his stuff?
We shouldn't be more than an hour or so. It's just a trip up to the Villa Star.
More than an hour.
Well, I mean, given what Fishy said last time, it's probably going to be, the best part of an hour to walk up to Tradeport.
Yeah, Waterdeep is a large city. It's one of the reasons why it's such a good idea that you all perhaps base yourselves here while you're operating in this area.
So, however, I did not leave the Guild of Scriveners and Cartographers expecting to be going on an adventure.
No. You take different things with you when you're going down a dungeon to when you're just going to meet some people.
Yes.
Down the dungeon.
No, you're not down a dungeon this time.
I mean, I so want to found a pub called the Dungeon.
The people who want to bomb the underground sewer system and the people who want to stab people. Poor Anjur has met after he has left to meet the actually sane and nice Lucian. So,
hang on, which Lucian's that? Because
Yeah, are we talking about the
Not
same
this
Lucian
Lucian,
here?
obviously.
Your company would be much appreciated, Master Lucian, for the trip there and back.
Where I can't remember where Lady is at the moment. Did I leave him behind, or did I bring him with me? I can't remember now.
I have a feeling that Lady is probably still stabled at the Mule Skull Tavern for the moment. Because you did have him with you because you've been turfed out on your ear and you have nowhere else to leave him. But you walked here with the rest of the party. So it's probably... he is probably still at the Mule Skull.
Well, I dare say we can swing around and pick up
Yeah, I mean,
Steed.
the Mule Skull is not that far from here. If you don't mind giving a backy, then it's probably quicker to walk to the Mule Skull and then the two of you ride
that's what
to your destination.
If Lady was here at the start, just shorten the trip. But
No,
go pick her up.
we'll go
Pick him
pick her
up
up.
first. I think her.
Yeah, you're not bringing Lady through these back alleys.
Yeah, we are.
You'll have to come the long down. I mean, not really a long way, but you'll have to come via Slop Street rather than through, say, Weeping Maiden's Run, coming back with a horse.
We're not going to get him down between the shops like we came.
Yeah, not easily anyway.
So we will go and do that. And assuming nothing happens along the way, I will just let my my contacts know at the Torso that I will be away for a couple of days, possibly.
Okay.
Just because I'm a bit poor at the moment, how much is it going to cost to retrieve Lady?
Yeah, that's a good point. You are a bit at the moment, aren't you? However, you're also a very honest-looking individual, so they've extended you credit for now. And you're a friend of Shrine, and they know Shrine, so
that's a relief.
So yeah, you can pay them later. You do know, because you came past the back of it. You do know that there are 4 buildings on this map, in fact, labelled AQ7, which is Hemmerham's Stables. You don't know the name of the stables, but you know that is those buildings are part of stables. So there is, should you wish to actually stable your horse here, there would appear to be plenty of space. I'm guessing that the smaller building in the middle must be the actual business. And the 3 larger ones are presumably stables, 3 separate stables. So there's plenty of room for you to bring Lady and have her dwelling in this area. But you'll probably need to pay them in advance, though.
We'll cross that bridge when I come to it.
Okay, so Knobwobble and Carps arrive back at the Safe Haven Inn while Lucian and Anjou are away. But now Stephen, who was Stephanie when they left.
Oh yeah.
And
Stephen is happily eating his pastry.
And Shrine are still here. So yeah, unless there's something specific you wanted to do while they were away.
What I have done while they were away, and I should be able to do this fairly simply, is I've got us a couple of rooms.
Yep.
This is as much as anything,
again,
so I can stash Knobwobble.
Travis will extend credit. Again, he's not giving you the rooms for free, but he's not asking for money up front.
Okay.
He will simply take it off what he pays you when you bring information about the watch.
Okay, that's fair.
Because he's offered you, I think, 200 gold. I think I said.
Yeah.
For proof of who. I have forgotten his name. Farson. Who Farson's contact at the watch is, and how far his influence extends.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, basically I wanted to sort us out rooms so I could stash all our gear up there.
Yep, you indeed have rooms. Let me take a look at the map. Because although I haven't
Stephen
managed
will
to get a
tag
copy
along
of it into
with
fantasy ground yet.
Shrine and will be like, "Will you? Can we board the room with you? And I'll pay you back later."
Okay. Shrina is basically going to look Stephen up and down. Okay.
Look, if you're worried about anything, I'm gonna be Stephanie while we're sleeping.
I'm actually
whatever.
more concerned about disturbing you because I'm prone to entering and leaving rooms through unorthodox exits.
Yeah, we don't really care about that.
That's fair.
Like, it's okay. Oh, Stephanie might be into some late night reading. So we might see you entering and exiting rooms, but that's kind of it.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. Oh, that is so cool. I'd forgotten just how cool these models were. So that's, if you can see it there, that one. Oh, that one. That's the view up Grocer's Lane to the past the guardhouse to the building with the two towers, as described. So that's where Carps and Nobblewood have just been. I really need to scan or photocopy this and get it into the Fantasy Grounds, but at the moment I just have it in real form. Do we have a map of... No, we only have the ground floor of... Oh yeah, no, wait. Nope, yeah, we only have the ground floor of the safe haven mapped on here, so I can't say that's your room, and we'll just have to look up what they've got and what it costs, even though you're not being charged yet.
I don't care about the cost.
No, are you going to be able to pay it?
So, things that I did not describe when you came into this inn before. There is an open balcony overlooking the tap room, apparently.
Fish, there is a token in the Slaughterdeep channel if you are in need.
Mm-hmm. Ah, so there is. I think we'll probably make do without it for now because I want to give it the same.
Oh yes, sorry.
The same style as the Jitterbug one, so that animal companions essentially kind of match.
Okay, that's fair.
Because I'm anal like that.
No, that's all right. I am a fool.
So, are we going to need a token for Onzer's armor? Because that's apparently a companion he likes to leave behind.
No, I think we can probably do without the token for that.
Unless, of course,
Okay.
animates all of its own and becomes its own thing, then we've got a different problem.
That would be.
I'm a scribe. Scribes don't usually have the necessity for wandering about in armor.
It's not so important to wear heavy armor while you're, just taking dictation, essentially.
Well, it depends where I'm taking dictation. But...
This is true.
Those quills can really sting if you stab them in the wrong place.
Text following down, Anja. We were attacked by 14 drow, 16 orcs, and about 100 kobolds. Please send help. Oh, where's he gone?
Right.
So yes, there is a tiny little desk next to a stairwell by the front door. You came in through the back door, but the front door of the tavern has a staircase next to it, one either side, in fact, leading up to an open balcony running round the outside and looking down over the tap room. And next to it, there is a tiny halfling-sized desk, which Travis looks a bit ridiculous accessing the book there and writing you in in a couple of rooms. Let's see, how many are you? There's 6 of you on there, so let's make it 3 rooms. Yeah, the second floor is little more than an encircling balcony over the tap room with 12 spacious rooms. So 3 of those rooms are now yours.
Okey-doke.
You will be given 3 keys to distribute as you desire. Each room has... I'm going to adjust the description given here. Each room has 2 beds, a table, a wash basin, a mirror, and a small chest for storage.
I take it we're not supposed to have seen these as pictures, are we?
Nope.
Just checking.
No, because I don't have them in Fantasy Grounds. So I don't really have them out of Fantasy Grounds, to be honest. I've mainly got a description written in the book in front of me.
I'm amazed you have a description. Actually, it's you. No, I'm not.
No, this is TSR.
Okay.
The reason I sent you to the Adventurers Quarter is because I had it all described by TSR, and I don't have to make anything up.
Fair enough.
If you go to a different part of the city, I've got to start inventing stuff. Which is fine, but then I've got to start remembering the stuff I've invented, which is not so good.
This is where we all decide to be like, nah, this quest isn't for us.
Yeah, we don't like this. Yep. That's fine. I've got random encounter tables. What could possibly go wrong with a group of first-level adventurers risking random encounter tables? Because
You already dropped us in Undermountain.
yes,
That wasn't
and you did
exactly random.
Yeah, you did a very good job of not dying. Well done.
My best efforts.
Largely because we did manage to, Shrine slapped Lucian with a tentacle of nasty.
Yes.
To be fair, that conversation and then dangling upside down doing my best Cirque du Soleil 600 feet up was probably the 2 scariest points in that.
So yeah, you can...
that climb up with the skeletons in the alcoves on the other side.
I loved that bit. I enjoyed that. I was very
Yes,
happy with that.
yes.
Enjoyed it. Traumatized by it, but enjoyed it.
I imagine that this is going to be the same thing in every town that we ever get to if we survive. It's going to be the 3 of you getting into a situation because Lucian brings you into a situation, and then 2 others of you are going to get angry and want to start the fight in Lucian's place while trying to stop Lucian from stopping the fight.
Or just kill Lucian to save all the fuss.
I mean, that would be the best way to do it.
Look, we have to take responsibility for him. We've got to walk him and clean
Because he can't take
and
responsibility.
feed him. Yeah.
Wow. I certainly
All
can't
right, you
feed
can have a
myself.
cavalier, but you have to walk him.
Got to make sure he gets his daily exercise.
Yes. Got your sanctioned daily exercise.
That's right, yeah. But you've got to make sure you're 2 meters away from him while you walk him. She's actually just valuable advice. Stay 2 meters away from Lucian whenever possible.
Stay lance length away at all times.
Yes.
Hang on. Actually, at this point, do we all count as members of the same household?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Obviously, they've lessened the lockdown, obviously, because otherwise the safe haven wouldn't be open.
I suppose, theoretically, they're standing there. They've got a long sword in each hand, just making sure.
Yeah.
Nobody's...
It's in not so much 2nd edition, but in 3rd edition onwards D&D terms, it's actually very simple. The rule is just stay outside of the threat space of every other NPC and player character. If they could get an attack of opportunity against you, then you're too close.
Yes, exactly.
That's kind of how I actually described it when this first kicked off to a co-worker who I know plays Warhammer. I said, it's really easy. Just stay outside the threat space of every other figure.
loads of swordsmen that I follow on Facebook and stuff that I know were saying just stay out of striking distance.
Stay out of cutting range. Yeah,
Yeah.
Cutting range,
absolutely.
you'll be fine.
I never did get round to putting a graphic together, but I wanted to do a T-shirt saying, maintain social distancing, stay out of cutting range with a
Yes.
suitable picture.
Yep, it's about right. 3 feet
Yeah.
outside. Yeah.
Well, you've still got time to do it because there is a second wave coming. So
There is a second wave coming. Yes, this is true. We are going to be doomed to that, thanks to the wonderful ineptness of our government.
Don't worry.
Anyway,
The Yellowstone caldera will explode before then, killing a big portion of the United States and then covering the world in darkness. It'll be fine.
right. So then we'll be sick and also unable to see.
At this stage, 2020, I will not be astounded if Godzilla emerges
Yeah.
from the Monster Island.
I did like that
Kaiju
tweet from
coming.
I did like that tweet from our
Coming.
Talsorian Games saying, "Look, at the beginning of the year when we said welcome to the dark future, we weren't being serious. Call it 2020."
Right. Okay. So
So you've checked out the rooms. You can have picked whichever room you want. I don't have a map of the upper floor, so I can't actually let you actually pick. But Shrine can decide which of the 3 rooms that you've got keys for she prefers.
I'm assuming that if
on
Stephen
them.
actually knows Nobobble, I'm assuming that Nobobble rooming with
No,
us
you
is
just suck on them.
to go. I'm not sure if you'd actually knew each other or whether you just tripped over each other immediately before we met you.
I think we pretty much established that they had met on the ship on the way here, but I will leave it up to the players as to how firm a friendship they established during that period.
I'll tell you what, I will dump. I think anything spare that Stephen's got and Nobble's gear, I'll dump in our room, and then just pile everything else in the other room, and people can sort their lives out from there.
Fair enough.
I'm guessing that the room divisions are going to end up with Lucian and Onja sharing. So
Yeah, I think it's quite likely.
Quite possible.
But contrary to popular opinion, Shirine's not your mum. Although she does act like it to everybody.
Honestly, I was thinking that Steven and Nababa would share a room anyway, because they do know each other more than the others.
yeah, and they possibly shared a room. I mean,
makes sense.
maybe they shared a cabin when they were on the boat. Or...
Possibly, yeah. It must be difficult knowing what cabin to put Stephen and Stephanie in.
It doesn't matter. They can
One
change
Maybe not
whenever
to
they
Stephanie
want.
and Stephen, but it might matter to whoever they're sharing a cabin with. Anyway, so by the time you finish sorting the room out and so forth, you'll come back downstairs just about by an amazing coincidence as Nobwobble and Carps re-enter the inn.
Still looking like Nabwobble that you knew, because I put
Okay, you put that back on before you. That's what I was about to ask you.
Suddenly had an image of Nobobble fumbling, putting his disguise back on.
I'm guessing that Nobble is pretty practiced by now.
I think so. Yes, I'm not going to require disguise checks for something that he does all the time.
Ooh. I wonder if you count it under the Don and Doff armor rules.
it takes me an hour to put on.
Suddenly, everyone goes off to Modern History TV on YouTube to check out how long it takes to put on armor.
Nope, we don't care how long it takes according to reality and real armor. We've got rules in the Dungeon Master's Guide,
got
and that's
a
all
table.
we care about.
True.
As the shirt
everyone
says,
here?
roleplay, you assholes.
Right. Okay.
Well, I'm here,
Oh yeah.
Right.
Lucian and Onja are
but I
not.
can't speak for everyone else.
Okay. Okay. Get drinks. Let's talk.
Okay.
Yes, let's. And while we're here, I'm going to go and have a chat with our host, if you don't mind. You might want to tag along. Very brief, subtle piece of information regarding the city guard.
Okay. I'll give you a hand with the drinks.
So while at the bar getting the drinks,
Mhm.
first piece of information around the city guard for you.
That was quick.
They're lazy as heck. walked past the guardhouse, weren't standing guard, weren't paying attention, just sort of slouched, having a laugh, having a joke, not paying any attention to anything. As it
Well-
happened, I needed to make a second lap. Now, at that point, you'd expect them to pay attention and ask why I'd passed their front door twice. The closest I got to that was a scant look over someone's shoulder.
That doesn't
Well,
sound very
You know what they say, you pay coppers, you get peasants.
Mhm. Right.
That is indeed what it seems
Nevertheless,
like.
when I have a better idea of what is going on, particularly when I have some names I can attach to it, I will be making an official complaint.
Well, if that gets to be a byline on your complaint, I'm happy with that. I'll get you more as soon as I have it.
Don't suppose you saw what sort. Yeah, how did they treat their gear? This is as we're heading back.
Difficult to tell. I was walking past, they were just sort of slouching around.
Yeah,
Is
you
it
really
shiny?
didn't get a good enough look for that. Had they been outside the building, I'd give you a roll now for it, but as it is, you really only caught a glimpse of them, and they were in a slightly shadowed environment.
It really was difficult to tell. They weren't where they should have been. That pretty much tells me everything I needed to know at that point.
So, tell me as we get back to the table. Explain to me why you were at the watch house.
So you remember that halfling that was watching us back up a ways?
Yes.
Yeah, I had Jitterbug follow her.
Okay.
So they're hanging out behind the guardhouse, talking about something. There's two really big, burly guys. Look like they could punch your face off. There was a skinny dude with them, telling them what to do, I think, and the halfling woman was with them. Completely different manner. She seemed a lot more serious.
On the subject of Jitterbug, about this point, you get an empathic sense from Jitterbug that they're on the move again.
Looks like they're on the move again. Not sure what exact direction, but I can find them again if we need to.
Well,
Aren't they planning a heist of some sort?
If I were of a criminal mentality, and I were planning some kind of activity along the lines of a heist, I can think of several places I'd want to talk about it before I went to hang out behind the guards.
So
unless the guards were in on it,
they could be doing it right now then.
Yep.
then let's move.
How
Where are
long
the others?
have Lucian and Onzo been gone? And I just realised I called Onzo Ongo. I apologise.
Yeah, you did, but
Sorry.
Love you.
they've probably only been gone about maybe 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay, so it's gonna be a while.
I mean, they're taking most of the trip on horseback, but that's not significantly quicker, to be honest. A horse
day be in
walks at,
traffic.
a horse walks at about the same pace as a human being. So,
Okay.
unless you are actually intending to hurry and draw attention to yourself, which in Lucian's case he may well be quite happy to draw attention to himself at every possible opportunity.
I'm just amazed that you think you're going to stop Lucian sending Lady through the streets at a high trot.
Yeah, I mean, for all I know, he's galloping with his lance couched, yelling, "Get out of the way!" the whole time. But
No, it just has to be fast enough that it's got the wind in the hair, so that you've got that.
So he is.
dramatic tone.
So they probably are at least
Unfortunately-
trotting then, just to get a little bit of airflow there on the hair.
Oh, I do feel sorry for Hunter.
Lucian goes looking for an acolyte of Shaundical to cast a wind gust of air at all times.
Yes. Little artifact. What does that do? Is it defensive? No. Please.
I need a prestidigitation just to make a small flash every time I smile.
That reminds me of a guy from the first serious group that I played with, where I learnt to play AD&D. And we had a player called Neil, who was a wonderful bloke. And one of his characters, before I joined, I never met the character, was a paladin. And he had this... He had this catchphrase. It was, I've been doing whatever since I was 4. Made a man of me. That he responded to absolutely everything, including the time he fell off a tower and died. And those were his dying words before they brought him back. Been falling off towers since I was 4. Made a man of me. But they were given a wish. Each of them was given a wish at one point, and he wished for a suit of plate mail that would always be shiny. No magical pluses, no defensive bonus, just always shiny.
Sounds like something Lucian would do.
And Lucian would pay over the odds for it.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, you've probably got another 20 minutes or so before they get back.
Okay, right. I don't think a few minutes are going to make any difference, so I'm going to give it half an hour. That's what she's going to say. I'm going to give it half an hour because I can't say I'm psychically realizing I've got about 15 to 20 minutes before Lucy and the Nonza get back.
So just to make sure, we're looking for these guys because somehow they're connected to the missing girl that we're looking for?
Yes, it looks like the missing girl has taken up with, and there's probably air quotes going on here, the kid who's running this gang.
So Serena, who you have a portrait of, was definitely not there when you were investigating, and neither of the two large gentlemen or the thiefy-looking guy matched the description you have of Farsen, her other half. So although the halfling was there, and you know it's the right people because you have information that halfling works with Farsen, neither he nor Serena were there. You can, if you wish, however, make me a roll against half your wisdom at this point.
Me?
Half my wisdom isn't much.
Oh, not me, no, them. Right,
No,
okay.
not Wobble. The person who was actually there looking at them.
Actually there, sorry. I'm just thinking, why did I bring my dice this session?
So we'll just divide it by half after it drops. That'd be rounding down or up?
Round mathematically so up.
Okay, so then I don't think that I succeeded. Oh wait, it's rounding up. It would be an 8.
Hang on, no, you're making a roll against half your
It's the
wisdom.
wisdom that you're halving, not the die. So your wisdom works out at.
Oh yeah, no,
let's
definitely not.
see,
My wisdom is
yeah.
11.
Yeah, it's
you
going
failed
to be
this roll,
rolling against 6. So 15 against 6 is not a success usually. No.
Sorry, it's been 3 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
I understand maths has been rewritten in the last 3 weeks.
That
Frankly,
does
it's
happen.
2020.
Yeah,
I'm really surprised.
every couple of weeks or so they bring out a new set of rules. You know, and you've got. It's
I
really
was-
annoying if you own textbooks because suddenly they're out of date.
I
Yeah.
was helping
So-
my daughter with her math schoolwork the other day, thinking, I don't remember any of this when I was at school.
Yeah, well, that's because you were at school more than 2 weeks ago.
But yeah, exactly.
Cue Tom Lehrer the new math.
Oh yes.
It's not a game session.
Okay,
Somebody
so
doesn't
yep,
or researcher.
since you didn't make that roll, I'm not going to give you any further information. You have a nagging feeling in the back of your mind that there was something about that situation that you haven't yet quite placed. But it is one of those, I know there's something relevant here and I can't think of it moments.
And the GM's just enough of a bastard to tell me that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a nagging suspicion, guys, but I have no idea what it is.
Well, that's helpful.
Is that the bardic spidey senses?
That's it. It's got a bardic sense.
Diddling. Sorry.
Bardic sense that's not a phrase you're going to hear very often, actually.
Yeah. Yes,
It's up there
with military intelligence, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
it's one of those
cavalier
those-
self-preservation.
Yeah, the wisdom of a bard, something that does not exist.
It's a very short book. It's got to be said.
Yeah, oxymoron, indeed.
That's
Okay.
the word. Thank you. I was trying to find it.
That's all right.
Yeah, I think. Can I just point out, though, from a linguistic point of view, what a good job Robinson is doing with Lucien, because he is, as I said, a cavalier. That is the kit that he has got.
Yeah.
And do we not, in the English language, use the phrase for somebody who is just rushing like a bull in a china shop at something, that they are going about it in a rather cavalier fashion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, linguistically speaking, he's spot on.
Loud, obnoxious, and with flair.
I misheard that as loud, obnoxious, and then flares. My brain just it now had an image
Well,
of
you-
70s Lucian.
I think
heard
you've
it
just
as loud,
described.
obnoxious, and with Ric Flair,
Lucian's
which-
actually based on the antagonist of a novel I read.
That doesn't shock me. That's so unshocking.
I think it
So
says a
many
lot.
The novel is obviously from the point of view of an anti-hero, but the main rival of the main character is the hero of the world, and he's constantly like spouting useless justice that the anti-hero hates because it's not getting any results.
On that subject, Molière, can I just say how fantastic it would be in a game like I forgot what it's called. Is it Pugmire? To have an entire party of King Charles Cavalier. I would. I'd have no interest in that game, but I'd play that one.
I'm pretty sure I've come across Dungeons and Doggos.
Wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
Aww.
There's a couple of systems which are anthropomorphized
Yeah.
dogs, I think, now.
There's also Pony Finder.
Yeah.
I don't want to know that one.
That is a real thing.
Hang on,
It's
we just
wholesome
run
and
up against,
adorable.
we finally run up against Lucian's. No. About against
Robinson's. Yeah, it had to exist. We knew it had to exist.
No, I just have some really scary memories of bronies at school.
Oh, fair enough. Ravening packs of bronies at school. Oh, thanks for the image.
Yeah, that's an encounter to be added to every post-apocalyptic game, isn't it? Ravening packs of bronies wandering the wastelands.
Yep.
I have a friend who found my doppelganger online, and they happen to be Brody.
Oh. Bless.
I mean,
That's his excuse anyway, because he doesn't want his friend to find out it's actually him.
Okay.
So yeah,
If we're
back to
done-
the game and the role play, please.
Yeah.
We'll pretend
Okay.
there's actually a game going on here.
And there's a game going on. We're just giving you space. You know, not sure how much you got prepped. Right. Hang on a sec. So. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I just remembered what I've got in that glass, in that mug. Okay. I'm going to ask Carps. Can you? I pull out paper and a bit of charcoal. Can you give me a quick sketch of the guardhouse
Yeah.
and environs? I'm thinking mainly windows, access, that sort of thing.
Sketches a quick rhomboid. Done.
Yeah. Also, I'm assuming that he's going to draw the house to the right of it. What the hell is that? Bear in mind I am from Waterdeep.
As a
Actually, yeah, make me a roll against your Waterdeep Law 1. I'm going to give you a penalty of -4, though, because you don't know this area particularly well.
Yeah, okay.
And that wasn't very good.
Skills, abilities. Abilities?
It should be a
What's a
non-weapon
non-weapon
proficiency. I should have added it to both of your characters. I hope.
It was there
Okay.
on mine. I rolled it in the game and failed.
That's right. I managed to look down the list twice and
Well,
didn't see
of
it.
course you failed. You rolled it in Fantasy Grounds. You should know that
Yeah.
Fantasy Grounds
I
doesn't
wasn't
do
gonna use
success.
Fantasy Grounds dice.
Yeah, Sorry.
That's just to really piss me off. Yeah, if I'd used my dice, I'd have made it by 1.
There you go.
I just rolled 9 out of 14. I don't know how
9
much
out of 14. Okay. So, from the description and sketch that you are given, and the fact that you walked past it about an hour ago,
is that?
Anyway, you realise that you do actually know what that building is. That building is Colat Towers, which is the home of... If I can... I mean, obviously Colat, but he has a name other than that. So I just need to identify...
I still love the name of that
name
street, by the way,
is.
which just sounds like an instruction. Weeping Maidens, run!
It does what I think it's somebody who can't quite remember that Doctor Who monster's name.
Was just about to make a similar joke.
Yes. I could just see it lurking.
Pretty obvious
behind.
one, wasn't it? Yes, no, I don't need to know that. I need to know who actually bloody owns it. Ah, right. Okie dokie. So it is the home of Alcidor and Durlock Colat. Wizards. So that is a wizard's tower, or a pair of wizard's towers with attached building inside a walled garden within, or a walled courtyard within the Adventurers Quarter.
Are you seriously telling me we have his and hers Wizards Towers?
I don't think they're his and hers. I think actually they're his and his. But yeah, otherwise...
Strange reality TV show.
Does the Wizard's Tower actually overlook the guardhouse, or is the guardhouse as tall?
I'm thinking both.
Oh,
look like
the towers overlook the guardhouse by quite a way, yes.
Okay.
The wall surrounding the building is about the same height as the guardhouse.
Wow.
And you can't really see the building inside. But the tower, literally, up over that.
You know, if I was going to do a heist on a guardhouse,
You'd
jumping
start
from...
I was just thinking, if I were going to do a heist on the Wizard's Tower, I'd start in the guardhouse that is the same height as the wall.
Ah,
You
you're going
don't
the other
know-
direction than I was thinking.
You don't know a lot about the Colat brothers, but you know that they are both wizards and that is their abode.
Yeah.
And they have two separate towers because they don't want to sleep together.
Hey, brothers, what are you going to do?
Not that, apparently. Sorry, have I just caused Alexis a joke?
I'm just
You
impressed by
ignore
the fact that that's clearly a Legend of Five Rings reference.
Yeah, it was that. Okay.
Not that I would know anything about Legend of Five Rings, because it's not a game I've ever played and don't want to run it, and I haven't really wanted to run it quite badly for quite a long time now.
So,
Surely you'd want to run it quite well, rather than quite badly.
Well, that would be an ideal, but I have to be realistic.
I've played it. It's kind of a fun system.
Yeah. Well, it depends which edition you're playing, of course, but it's an excellent setting. We, Drup, Knight and I used to play the card game, that it was originally a card game before it became an RPG, back in the day. And then we played a bit of first edition Legend of Five Rings, which was written by John Wick. And
Wait, the John Wick with the dog?
no, different John Wick.
The
The
other
far
John
cooler one. The far cooler one. And pretty much established the roll and keep system. There may have been games using it before Legend of Five Rings First Edition, but to my knowledge, Legend of Five Rings First Edition really did popularise roll and keep as a system mechanic. Excellent bit of design there. Which I think has been messed up by Fantasy Flight Games in the latest edition, so I won't be buying it.
And which we might see, which we will hopefully see some of in action next week.
Ooh.
Hint, hint.
Honestly, all I know about the system is because I caught up with the podcast, The Garbage of the Five Rings, which is two people talking about Legend of the Five Rings. I have
makes sense.
no context for anything they're saying, but I was living for it.
It's a very entertaining setting, Legend of Five Rings setting. Rock again, which is it's not fantasy Japan, it's fantasy the East. They've
Yeah, okay.
incorporated elements from Japan, China, and India. There's a lot of disparate things in there to make a quite original, really, fantasy setting. Although it's at first glance, it's very obviously Japan.
Oh, if we played any more of it, then I might have realised more of that.
Well, last time I tried setting it up, I got a group of players together, and then before we even got to the first game session, half of them dropped out. So
Yeah.
I still have the scenario waiting to be run. One day I shall, and the pre-generated player characters. One day I shall run it.
I did have a load of books for that system, but ended up selling them when money was very, very tight a good few years ago.
I managed to pick up a reasonable collection of 3rd edition, which is a pretty good version of the game.
That is the one where I've got a Crane Flower Ranger.
Who is it that keeps having cops going by?
Yeah.
But that time I don't think it was me because they came through my headset. So I don't think the police have started broadcasting to my headset yet.
It's definitely not me. Trust me. The way
I think that time it was Alexia.
Okay. It's when
What did you
realise
do,
that-
Alexia? What did you do?
It's when you start identifying countries by the sirens.
This is when we find that Alexia in real life is Marnie.
Oh, I
Right.
wish I was Genevieve, being able to split into 3 versions of me and have 2 of them looking up rules while the 3rd is actually running the game would be so useful.
Yeah,
So, carry
those
on,
were the sirens from here. Unfortunately, I tried to mute myself, but I muted myself a bit too late.
Don't worry about it.
Can we-
There's sirens coming from Fish's
Don't
End.
ask me who was on fire. We didn't receive any alerts, so I hope it was not that bad.
Can we safely jump forward to the return of Lucien and Anja at this point?
I think so.
Unless they had random encounters.
Don't give them my. I'm not having a random trouble. We're going to
I
get killed.
accidentally squashed a peasant on the way.
Wouldn't surprise me in the least.
Oh, the lady would have bitten somebody.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. She is a biter. Or he is a biter, isn't he?
That's right. He is a biter. Yeah. I will get the hang of this. Lady is a
Eventually.
he. I will get the hang of that.
It was a joke, and unfortunately, you're now got to live with it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm quite happy with it. I've just got to remember. That's all.
I'm now wondering about warhorse insurance.
Well, you are a scribe, so I would assume that you deal with a lot of legalese.
Are you thinking as an underwriter? Not really.
Anja, can you find me some warhorse insurance? Oh yes. Apologies to anybody outside the UK who probably doesn't get that joke.
Oh no.
Oh no.
When does the moustache guy show up and start singing?
Oh, no.
Well, your is hard.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
anyone
but that requires Shard to know the Go Compare tune.
Puddles off to YouTube.
No, stop thinking about adding real world things to a fantasy setting.
Yeah,
In
don't do
sewer
that.
ants.
Yeah.
Yes, reflected sound of underground spirits.
Yep.
Oh god.
So yes, you've passed on the relevant information as far as you can gather, but maybe with a different set of eyes and ears, you'll think of something else that needs to be discussed. And as you're just making idle chit chat at this point, Anja and Lucien re-enter the inn. This time from the front door, because although you can guide a warhorse through some pretty narrow alleyways, but you're far better off, especially with 2 people on it, bringing it down Slop Street instead of trying to bring it in the back way. So, and out the front, there's a hitching post, because you don't have any money on you, so you haven't actually been able to put him in a stable yet at this end. So you've left Lady tethered in Slop Street in front.
Sorry, are people hearing my alerts?
Yes.
Or
Possibly.
someone's alert.
I think they're probably your alerts. I don't think I get
It might be
audible
coming
alerts.
from my side. Hold on.
I'm trying to work out what channel to mute.
Yeah,
Cause
I shouldn't be getting audible alerts because, of course, Discord is in streamer mode for me.
Hang on. Yeah, Discord's not in streamer mode for me, and someone was posting on the channel I get alerts from all the time. And
Well,
I've just
there's posts in AD&D Slaughterdeep, so that might have been it.
No, it wasn't.
Do you not get alerts for that? Oh, it's nice to know you don't get alerts from my game.
It was
Just
Johnny and
muted the whole
Sasha.
server.
They've just gone live, and as a result, I'm getting alerts. Right.
Honestly, I was having that moment of, wait, I thought my Discord was closed. Why do I keep hearing the beeping? Where is the beeping coming from?
I was just trying to work out why it wasn't coming through my headset. Of course, Discord has its own sound settings.
Yeah, Discord has some evil settings. So.
Yeah, so sorry about that. I
No,
apologise.
see, I love things that have their own sound settings. Between things that have their own sound settings and the fact that I run Voice Meter Potato, I can put everything through different channels and determine what goes out on stream and what doesn't go out on stream and all sorts of fun stuff like that.
But only if you remember which channel goes where.
Yes, and only if I have the time to set them up in advance, which I didn't bother doing this week, so you don't get the soundboard, I'm afraid. Maybe by the next game I will have remembered to actually get Sirenscape going through VC.
Just thought. Okay. So, since I assume Lady is not being trotted into the tap room.
Nope.
That's such a
Okay,
shame.
rephrase this.
But
Lucian, you are not bringing Lady into the tap room.
the door opens and L'Oreal Lucien walks in. Probably swishing his hair as he comes, yeah, because he's worth
I'm
it.
worth it.
He actually got here 10 minutes ago. He was waiting for the sun to come down.
Yeah, he's waiting for the right moment, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I think Uffit is right. Warhorses need beer.
Or horses, or cart horses with attitude.
Oh, that's got me thinking of a lyric which is going to annoy me. Anyway, go on.
Fair enough.
So now that everyone is assembled and presumably ready, we should probably see where Jitterbug has followed them to.
Okay.
Though I didn't see Carson with them, or anyone that looked like Carson. Maybe there's a conspiracy in their own little group to change things? I don't know.
Well,
All that matters is saving the damsel.
the little halfling
Well,
seems
not
to
all,
be...
but it's certainly a step along the way.
Yeah.
What else could matter?
Oh, you know, putting an end to the fact that there's going to be some kind of scam going on here to try and fleece the honest businessmen here out of their hard-earned cash.
Lucian, a protection racket is not just.
That's
Not
what I was
just
driving at. Well put, Renee, thank you.
You have to get down so you're on eye level with them, or on the table.
I'm still
eye
learning
level
that.
with them, and then you can talk straight to them in language they'll understand. And if you get it wrong, you put them on the naughty step. Sorry, I may have been watching Super Nanny reruns.
Till
It's
the
surprisingly
naughty step.
effective.
Till the naughty step reference, I wasn't entirely sure whether you were talking about kids or animals there, because it is
Let's face
basically
it.
the same technique either
Yeah.
way.
Let's face it, they used to double bill Super Nanny followed by It's Me or the Dog.
Me or the dog.
And
yeah.
to be honest, the tactics were largely interchangeable.
Whereas in real life, the two tended to merge, and you've got an awful lot of situations if it's me or the nanny.
No, that's the prelude to divorce court.
That's the one.
Okay, so... Oh my god.
We're doing such a great job staying on task.
Absolutely,
Oh.
yeah. We get a lot done in these games because we just stay focused, laser focused on the plot and where we're going.
I would just like to point out you had a go at me for not being prepped one session.
Yeah, I haven't
Quite
been
legit.
prepped for this entire campaign, so
Yeah, fair enough. No, it's all right. I apologise slightly. My brain is melting because it is really seriously hot in here.
yeah, it is.
Benefit of the recording, I am not using a fan.
And I do apologise for the fact that I have been completely unprepared for not just since we restarted. I was completely unprepared for the first 11 episodes in Undermountain as well, and I desperately need to get my preparation game
Excuse
back up to
you,
spec.
they're very fun, both to watch and to play. So
Oh, I think they came out quite well, but just think how much better they would have been if I'd actually known what I was doing beforehand.
Okay. So, okay, let's head over there quietly. Onzu, you're going to need to get changed.
Quietly.
Sorry, what is it?
Is
that we are?
quietly the operative word there?
Well,
Can Lucian do quietly?
we're going
Like-
to head over and have a look around where the criminals were, and the irony is not lost on Shrine, were meeting around the watchtower. Now, once we get there, then a low-key attitude is probably recommended. However,
You want
it's
to become a
entirely
trickster god?
possible. Sorry?
Sorry, that was totally inappropriate and I shouldn't have said it.
You should have said
I
it.
don't.
Look,
I don't
yeah,
think that.
I'm a priest
Right.
of Mia, not of Mask. It's
No, I'm just thinking that if anything does kick off, you won't have time to get changed then.
no, okay. I take a look at my swirl cloak. It's like, I'm guessing we want to be a little bit more discreet.
Mm.
I head up to my room, change into my armor, remove my rather vivid cloak.
Okay.
I won't take my flail. I will remain with my staff, I think.
So they're on the move. I don't think they're where I saw them last time. We're gonna have to find them again.
Okay.
But
Yeah, your sense of jitterbug has moved quite a distance. You don't get exact distances, but you would guess she's outside of the adventurers' quarter now.
they've left the adventurers' quarter.
You're bad.
I mean, it's
Got
okay.
a
Maybe
lot in
we'll
the
find
tank.
some other pastries on the way.
Well, it might be that Jitterbug is just following the halfling, and the halfling has gone back to pretending to be a child
What?
and watching for things.
What does
Yeah,
your
the
bird-
distance would be about right for having gone back to outside the Thirsty Throat, where you originally encountered her, yeah.
what does your
As
bird
such-
eat? Has it
No.
headed off to the nearest confectioners?
Has it headed off where?
To the nearest person with a barrow selling sweets.
No.
Just checking.
Jitterbug
Sure.
isn't a pet. Jitterbug's a friend. Always up here and always right here.
Except when it isn't.
No, Shriny, you put a good question. If the halfling has indeed gone back to the thirsty face, or what's it called, then we could strike, and they will have one less person among their ranks.
Possibly. I'd like to see where they were meeting.
Sure. I'll take you there.
Cast a professional eye over it.
It's good to have a professional among us.
Because it seems it seems odd to have such a meeting there. Okay, let's get going then.
I'm just not sure whether Shrine is Bodhi or Doyle, personally.
Down. I was quite liked. Oh crap! No, my brain's melted on me. Bodhi was the ex-SAS, wasn't he?
Bodhi was the ex-SAS. Lewis Collins, the ex-SAS.
Lewis Collins. I always
guy.
liked Lewis Collins slightly more.
He was the cooler one of the two.
He was. Yeah.
Yeah, he was. I think a lot of us did at the time underestimate. Was it Martin Shaw?
Yes.
quite a lot, because later on he proved he was actually a really good actor. I just don't think he had a particularly interesting role in the professionals. None of which has anything to do with the fact that you have now traversed to the little courtyard space behind the watch house and the garrulous grocer, in between those two buildings and what turns out to be a private residence, but obviously quite a flash one because it's got a walled courtyard at the front, but not a wall that goes all the way around it like Colat Towers has.
Okay.
The area here is clearly back alley territory. There's nothing. You're looking at the backs of all three of these buildings. There's nothing here to interest anybody except back doors. If you wanted to get into a place via a more sneaky method, this might be the place to go. The watch house obviously doesn't have a back door.
Does it have that window?
No, it doesn't. The back wall of the the guardhouse is entirely blank.
I'm gonna have a look.
Normal?
What does have a back door is the garrulous grocer. There are three buildings there. You can see them on the map. In fact, if I sync the map view, so you should all be looking at the same thing that I'm zoomed into now. And then to give us a slightly clearer view, I will also, if the cat will let me reach it, shrink your token, your party token. What we have here is three buildings that are built right on top of one another. So the long, low building at the bottom is the actual shop, the garrulous grocer. Behind that is what appears to be a residential building. And that has got a door on the right-hand wall, so directly facing the guardhouse.
Okay.
But even though the other two walls that you can't see from here abut buildings directly, this has all the look about it of a back door, which suggests that there is actually access from this building into either the grocer's shop or the larger building next to it.
No indication what the larger building next to it is. Just
You could take a
resident-
wander down and have a closer look at it if you want.
Yeah, I'm going to basically indicate the others to stay back and just take a casual stroll.
Okay, walking down to where you can see that building properly, it becomes readily apparent that this is a storehouse of some kind. It's got a couple of large double doors, which ironically open into a relatively narrow alley.
Right.
And it just everything about the construction has this look of warehouse, but not really big enough, so we'll call it storehouse.
Okay. Right. Okay. Any? Sorry, you said double doors, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going to have a cursory glance at the lock on the doors, if they are locked.
They are padlocked. There is a chain. There are iron hasps, a chain between them, and a padlock on the chain.
Okie dokie.
Being a D&D padlock, it's a big clunky thing, not like modern padlocks.
Okay. No sign of damage to it, though.
No sign of damage to it, no. It looks a bit worn, like it's been in use for a long time. And there are some scratches here and there, which, were it a new padlock, you would ascribe to somebody having attempted to open it. But with it being somewhat worn, It's probably just that someone wasn't too careful with the key on various occasions.
Okay. I'm actually losing the plot here. I have to have the fan on. I can't not at the moment.
No, that's
Sorry.
Yeah, put it
apologies
on for the
to
sake of your health.
apologies to viewers, but I am very much of the opinion that yes, if our players need fans, then you're just going to have to put up with fan noise.
I thought our fans were the people watching.
Different fans altogether. If the people watching want to come round with fans and keep us cool, then they're entirely welcome to do so.
Sorry, I just realised I just glanced over. It's top 35 in here, and I haven't had
Jeez.
Okay, I know I shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Not necessarily hint plays policy, but my policy when I'm running games is always the game comes first. I love streaming the games to people. I love that people enjoy watching them, and I love having the audience. But at the end of the day, if for some reason I have a choice between running the game or streaming the game, I will run, or streaming something else. I will run the game every time, because to me, this is all about playing D&D and hopefully introducing other people to what we do and encouraging them to do the same thing.
Okay. Sorry.
So are we breaking in?
No. What I'm trying to do is ascertain whether somebody else has tried.
What a plebeian way of thinking.
No, the plebeian way is somewhere else.
I'm with Lucian on this one. We can just go inside and say hi.
Yeah.
I mean, I look like a tourist. Nobwobble looks like a tourist. Lucian definitely looks like a tourist.
Totally look like I belong. What are you talking about?
Come on, can you really tell me that you don't look like you look like a Waterdeep eyed
Waterdavian.
Waterdavian.
Waterdavian. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not the most obvious demonym for.
Yeah, it sure is a name.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just you.
It beats Waterdeep.
Either of us doesn't look like they belong. Also, Shiny looks like somebody who would get a job at whatever thieves guild there is here.
Oh right, I thought you were going to say she doesn't look like someone who get a job at the grocers.
Yeah, no.
Thanks.
I mean, I'm guessing Trina's come back to us at this point.
Yeah, I have. I just wandered along.
I mean, yeah, she only went about 20 feet away from you anyway. So.
Yeah, and I'm toddling back. I'm just
a bit further than that, maybe.
If hypothetically I were going to engage in an act of burglary in this specific area, I'm just looking to see what prep work somebody could have done who was of a similar frame of mind. Theoretically.
So do you think that
speed signs maybe scratched into the walls?
Do you think that they were determining whether or not this would be a suitable place for a robbery? Yeah.
Well, they were standing right here, right here, right here, and right here.
I'm just wondering.
Okay, so
given that we were told,
sorry, carry on.
The suggestion of them colluding with the watch, or at least Farson having some issue with the watch, that lurking around the back of the watchtower, the watch post, might not be a little suspicious in of itself. I'm surprised that there is no door of any kind on this back wall.
Now, as you are musing this, and considering the positions that Nobwobble is pointing out for the people that he spied upon, you realise that, in fact, the door that is here is in remarkably close proximity to where they were standing. So perhaps their interest was, in fact, with the house at the back of the Garrulous Grocer rather than the watch post.
So who lives there?
Well, let's find out. I guess we talked to the grocer.
Yeah. I'm just going to have a quick look at this door on the right-hand wall of the middle building.
Okay.
Yes, if some want to go in the front, I want to have a quick look around the back of this area as well.
Yeah. Fish, I just want to I want to examine the door,
Mm-hmm.
see how it's secured, see if anyone has been messing with it.
I can help with that.
Okay.
I'm mechanically inclined.
You are
When
indeed,
you
yes.
inclined, are
So
you
I
going to
think
do mechanical things?
what I'm going to do, if you're examining the lock on this door, and this is the house that you're looking at now, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're examining the lock on this door, I think, yeah, I'm going to ask for in your case, Shrine, it would be pick locks. And in Knobwobble's case, it is mechanically inclined, isn't it? There's the skill. But,
Oh, sorry, you're looking at AQ6, not at the storehouse.
no, the middle building on AQ10 there, which is a
Right,
obviously
okay.
a house attached to the back of the grocers.
Yeah, it bridges the gap between the grocers and the storehouse.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it just reek of wrongness. Okay.
So yeah, if I can get a roll on open locks and mechanically inclined, but obviously not to actually open it. This is for information. And if you do fail, let me know how much you fail by, because you'll probably get something unless you completely screw it up.
Okay. Right.
Well, on the subject of completely screwing it up, failure by 64 is quite a long way off.
Wow. Sorry, I was about to roll it on D20 and then I looked up and went, I've got 40%. No.
Yeah, no, this is 2nd edition. We're still on percentile thief skills. So as a little bit of a system note for those who may not be aware, 1st edition, basic D&D and 1st edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, the thief skills were the only skills in the game. And they were handled on a percentile roll. You had a whatever % chance of succeeding at these skills. When 2nd edition introduced non-weapon proficiencies, which are rolled on a d20 against a modified attribute, rather than bring thief skills in line with that, because the non-weapon proficiencies were optional, they left them as they were, because it would be rather weird for players that were converting from 1st edition to 2nd edition and who opted not to use the non-weapon proficiencies to suddenly be rolling a d20 for their thief skills when they'd never been doing it before. So that's why the thief skills don't really match up to all of the other proficiencies in this edition. In 3rd edition, of course, they've moved them to being skills like all of the rest on a d20. But that's a very different game system.
So while they're doing that, Andre wants to basically kind of like walk down the alleyway and like just have a look at the back wall of the watch house, sir.
Okay.
Before like having a look around at any of the other stuff. Basically, I'm looking for any symbols or what might potentially be thief signs, because I've got the identify symbol ability. So.
Yes. Right. So, Drut, I do apologise. I talked over you. What did Shrine get on her roll?
9 out of my 40% open locks.
So that's pretty good then.
I only made it by 31.
Okay, so you can make a reasonable assessment of the lock, and what you discover essentially is that it's a standard door lock. Now, a lot of the lower class buildings in a place like Waterdeep don't actually have locks, because locks are quite expensive. This one does. It's a fairly normal lock, so it's a bit big and hefty compared to modern locks.
Mm-hmm.
But you looking at it, you would say, it's not a lock that would, jumping out to the metagame for a moment, it looks like a normal lock. It would not give you any negative penalty or indeed positive bonus on your skill if attempting to unlock it. But it also doesn't look to have been meddled with in any obvious ways. Unobvious ways you wouldn't be able to tell because it's clearly been here for years, and the normal wear and tear would mask any more subtle jiggery-pokery. But there's nothing obviously, that you can see.
Okay. Any thieves, any symbols or signs scratched or chalked anywhere in the vicinity of this building?
Okay, so at this point, Shrine is moving on to doing pretty much exactly the same thing that Anjou is doing, but you're doing it on the house rather than on the building.
Yeah.
Right, so you will both of you find symbols. In your case, Shrine, you find it mainly because you know what you're looking for.
Uh-huh.
It is indeed the written form of Thieves' Cant, essentially. There is a quite subtle but easy to find if you're looking for it chalk mark above the door, which it doesn't translate to a specific meaning. It's not like a phrase. It is a mark that is used to indicate a target. So the sort of thing that you would leave if you're planning an operation and you wanted to make sure that your people got the right place.
Yeah.
And that has been left just above the door to this building.
I have a great idea.
Oh, I wonder if it's the same idea I've just had.
Anjou will find a similar mark, but not in chalk this time. Instead, scratched into the wall on a brick at just above eye height for an average human. And in your case, you will need to make a roll to see what information you can gain about it.
I need two
intelligence checks.
Two intelligence checks.
Yeah. First one is for who left it.
Which is the path.
Okay. You will look at this sign and you will identify it as a common thief mark.
And that is a pass by 14 on the second one.
Okay. And on the second one, you've come across references to marks like this before. It's not exactly the same as the things that you have seen in your studies, but this mark generally indicates either a place of safety, similar to the marks that you saw outside the Safe Haven Inn, but for thieves, or possibly a place where there is something, some service to be offered.
Right. Well, that's not suspicious in the slightest.
No, I mean,
On a guardhouse? No.
no. It's the sort of place where you can walk up and go, wink. Can anyone help me? Capital H, capital M. I have just found this purse outside. I'd like to hand it in. Yeah, dodgy as hell. Okay. So, if we collaborate on this to me sounds like you can rob this place and the people here will help.
If you assume that the two marks are related.
Do they look to be of equivalent ages? Or is that going to be another?
I'm going to say that your first instinct is to say no, they're not. A chalk mark like the one on the building isn't going to last very long.
No.
Even though it is slightly sheltered, all it takes is a bit of rain when the wind is in the right direction and that chalk mark is going to disappear. The scratch mark on the building opposite looks like something that was made to last.
Yeah.
So the building opposite has people that will help thieves do things.
And the building opposite is the watch house.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I will, because of what he is, I will allow Anjou an additional intelligence check at this point.
Okay. Right. And that's a pass by 13.
Okay, so
That's been a 1, 2, and 3 here.
looking at the sign that Shrine has pointed out and the sign that you have seen, your skills as a glyph scribe lead you to believe that they are probably made by the same person.
Right.
The
Okay.
handwriting looks right.
Yeah.
How high? It is above the door, isn't it?
It is above the door, yeah.
So not the halfling then.
Almost certainly not the halfling. Although this is quite a low door. I mean, you wouldn't have to actually you might. I'm not sure with your half elf. Most people wouldn't have to duck to get through this door, but it's
Should
not
be about 5'8" if I recall.
not a tall door by any stretch of the imagination.
We could just wipe the mark off, and then they don't have a target, right?
I suspect at this point, though, that if they have been observing this place, that they are not going to be put off by it not being.
No, they've been here. They've seen it. If they
What time of day is it?
Oh, by now it's mid-afternoon.
It's likely if they're going to do anything, they're going to move at night.
Almost
Depends on
certainly.
anything they're going to do.
And then we can hide in the darkness and stab them.
Lucian,
Anja looks at Stephen at that.
no stabbing.
Look, my sister is the peaceful one.
We'd quite like to have a discussion with their bosses, and that's going to be tricky if everybody's been stabbed.
We're not.
Yeah, you
The
make a
guards
pretty
are
good
villains,
point.
though.
We're here to rescue. We're here to rescue Serena, not and to potentially gather information.
It's
for
rather unpleasant that this place, there's so much pavement that we cannot follow footmarks. How even can people live in places like this? How do you even hunt?
I take it your homeland is more rural.
Yes, we kind of enjoy it a bit more outdoorsy.
Can I just quickly check something, Fish?
Mm-hmm.
In front of the grocer,
In front of the
is that
grocer.
a sewer entrance?
That is a sewer entrance. Or at least a drain.
Okay.
You haven't actually gone down there and studied it. You only saw it as you were walking past.
Yeah. No, I
It is
will
at the-
look at it before I formulate anything.
Yeah,
involved.
it is at the very least a drain into the sewers. Whether it's an openable drain is another matter. You would need to examine it to find out.
There is the possibility that we could just let the owner of this establishment know that their house has been marked.
That actually sounds reasonable.
Actually,
I
that's
mean-
not a bad idea, Andrew.
Also,
I would
If it-
suggest that maybe, for want of a better person, that I might do it because my profession probably would lead people to better believe that I understand or have seen such things before, rather than an anonymous person just coming in off the street to tell them that their house has
No
been marked.
objection from me.
That's
You know,
fine.
aside from the fact that you're from this city anyway, so
I'm not. My homeland is far further south.
oh.
The
Yes,
only
I
thing-
am slightly
Aw.
dark skinned and I am Amnia now.
Aw. I am so sorry. You must be really far away from home. Aw.
Oh no, I intended to come here. I have business here.
I mean, sure, but we have business here too. But there are
As,
so few trees.
as
Yeah.
the son of a merchant, wandering has definitely been in the blood. So
That's good.
My only concern, and this isn't a we shouldn't do it. My only concern with raising it with the occupants of the house is amateurs might then get involved and put themselves in danger. And if this crew are as organised and as unpleasant as we've heard, that might endanger them to an unacceptable degree. And
That-
also, they may want to tell the watch who they live next door to.
that is eminently fair. Perhaps Master Travis would be a better person to seek counsel over.
Yeah, it might do better coming from somebody they know and in this area, that seems to be a bigger deal in the quarter.
Do you guys want to post a lookout waiting for them?
Oh, bother.
Yeah.
Is that?
Would that not make us look a bit suspicious, like we're the perpetrators?
I
I'm
mean,
small.
yeah. We might not be small, but we're very touristy. We can
So we need
just
someone to
look
guard
at the
place,
store and hang out in here and just chat, you know, like people usually do.
Not Bobble Small.
Yeah. And we're elves, so not really small, but
I'm just wondering, Fishy.
we're just looking for, we're admiring the architecture and the gardens and looking at the guard tower and asking about the safety regulations for tourists.
How tall is the watch house?
Yeah, Fishy. I was about to say, while this discussion is taking place, Anja looks up.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm just
watch
wondering,
out.
because if I were going to post a sentry, that's where I'd put them.
Okay. It is a 2-story stone building.
Not that tall. Okay.
Cat, how have you managed to open Kindle on my computer?
Sorry, how many stories did you say it was?
2.
So,
I completely misheard that. I thought you asked how to open it on the Kindle.
Yeah, I heard that too.
so we're looking at about 35 foot up, right?
I have
Yeah.
a touch screen and a cat, and they are a bad combination. I will tell anyone who owns a cat, don't get a touch screen.
Okay.
Didn't you have to move it so it's at the top of your setup now instead of at the bottom?
No, but I really ought to, because that would keep the cat away from it and stop things like my Kindle suddenly opening for no good reason.
Honestly, I'm usually my own cat in the sense that I am my touchscreen's biggest nemesis. Menace.
Don't lock it.
Yeah, I somehow managed to scramble both nemesis and menace in the same word.
Nemesis. No.
I've done similar things many a time.
Yeah.
So you don't see any obvious signs of people lurking on top of any of these buildings, in fact, and watching you.
Makes sense for us, of course.
That's good, because I would have been very disappointed in them if I had. However, we're in kind of a back alley area, nothing really overlooking this. So were somebody to attempt to scale the back wall of this flint-built watch house with no windows, just to see what it's like up on top?
Well,
you can look around, and there doesn't seem to be any sign of anybody in this back alley that would see a hypothetical person performing this hypothetical act.
Hypothetically. Climb walls, 60%. Kind of Shrine's thing.
Guessing you've got rope and grappling hook?
I have it, but I was just going to do it.
Oh,
I was
right.
going to say I was just
Why
going to do
don't
it
you just
naked,
walk
but
in the
that's not
front
what I
door?
meant.
Free climb, I think, is what you were meaning.
Thank you. Okay,
Yes.
hang on a minute.
She's going to Tom Cruise her way up it.
Tom Cruise.
how big is the building that has the mark on it that's actually the target?
That's 3 stories.
3 stories.
Actually, no,
Okay.
I'm going to make it 2 stories because the building next to it looks taller.
Yeah.
So it's 1 story for the front building, which is the actual grocery shop, then 2 stories for the smaller house behind it, and 3 stories for the storage building next to that. So you got steps for very tall people.
Okay. I'm going to. I take it that my climb walls is my default climb walls, and it would be easier were I to use rope and grapple.
yeah, I mean, if you successfully got a grapple up there, then it's massively easier if you're just,
I'm just
walking
thinking
up the
climbing.
wall. If you're Batmaning it,
Yeah,
easy, yeah. But
climbing. I reckon I could do fairly
yeah.
covertly.
This
Grappling
wall
is gonna be a bit.
this wall will not provide either bonuses or penalties, so you're just rolling
No,
a
that's
straight
fair.
climb walls. There's no modifiers on this.
Okay. I'm going to do that then. Give me a couple of minutes, okay? Back
Okay.
soon. Please don't fluff this drop. Oh, for God's sake! 8.
Sounds like a fluff.
Wow.
That's
When I
absolutely the
need-
opposite of a
That's
fluff.
not
If
a
we
fluff.
have a fight and I start rolling, 3s for my attack roll, this is why. I'm blowing all my good rolls now. Oh, Shard, I just want the claw from.
Why are you trying to build like 3-dimensional maneuver gear?
Right, I'm going up this wall. I can rat up the proverbial.
Okay. So you find yourself fairly swiftly on top of a guard post.
Yeah.
There are, which you can just about see on the map if you look closely, 2 trapdoors in opposite corners of the seal of the roof,
Yeah.
obviously leading inside. And there is a low parapet wall around the outside. It's high enough that you could crouch down behind it to get cover,
Right.
but low enough that it's not an obvious battlement.
Yeah. Okay.
You would need to, to get cover. You would need to be crouched or kneeling behind it, rather than just standing behind it and looking through crenellations.
Okay. I'm going to tread very carefully. I am stealthing with my 10% move silently because that's not my thing. To have a look at the trapdoors. I want to have a look at
Okay.
the hinges and see how recently they've been opened. Is this
So-
an area that they come to regularly?
To make clear, I do not agree with the way a lot of DMs handle move silently. I've seen an awful lot of actual plays where, whether in this edition or a later edition using the D20s, where a failed move silently roll automatically means you're making a lot of noise and people hear you.
No, I've always
That's
done
not
it,
the way it
related.
works. Anyone can move quietly across a room. We've all done it when trying not to wake somebody up, or just when in the middle of the night suddenly feeling you should be quiet even though there's nobody else in the house or what have you. And we don't have thief skill training to do that.
No.
So particularly in a game like this one where only thieves have access to that skill, I've always taken move silently to mean that you are moving silently. A failed move silently roll just gives them the same chance of possibly hearing you as anyone else. But it's by no means automatic, it just means I get to roll to notice you.
Okay. Let's give it a go, because no way am I making 10%. And I've got 9, 8, and progress to 7, then I'm just going to laugh. 1. Fuck's sake. 11.
Oh,
11. Okay, so you make very little noise, but are not actually silent.
I think there's a stone caught in her boot, and that chinked across the rooftop.
So,
11.
which trapdoor do you want to check out first? So you've
Left-hand
come
side
up-
is the top one.
the top one. Okie dokie.
Yeah.
So yeah, you
So
head
on
up
my
the wall to the left.
Yeah.
And
I'm
what you
thinking
find
so.
is a roughly 5 to 6 foot square wooden trapdoor. It's made of fairly solid looking construction with a couple of iron bands holding it together, so it would withstand a bit of a pounding.
Yeah.
There's no sign of a lock. It doesn't have a keyhole or anything.
Okay.
But
What do
you're
they
reasonably sure it's probably barred on the other side, because it
Okay.
would make sense.
How do the hinges look?
You can't see the hinges because they're on the inside.
Oh. Okay. I am in that case, and you're going to call me out for being overly anal on this. I am going to get down on my hands and knees, and I'm going to look at the dust, which in the city is going to be blowing around a bit, and I am going to look to see if any has banked up against the side of the trapdoor.
Okay, I'm not going to require a roll for this. You know exactly what you're looking for, and
Yeah.
you would say that this trapdoor is in fairly regular use.
Right, that's what I'm after. Okay. Having assessed that, I'm not going to go all the way down to the other side.
You're just going to assume the same for the other one, are you?
Yeah. I'm going to
When, when you say fairly regular use, what you're saying is when they're not too busy eating, chatting, or sleeping.
Well, when it's a nice day and they want to get a bit of sun.
Yeah.
A bit of sun.
To do the eating, drinking, and chatting.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you've ever had access to a roof terrace on a sunny day, but it's a very pleasant way to spend your time.
Oh, it's lovely.
But this is where the guards, but they should have people posted up there to watch.
Yeah, well, that's what they claim when they're up there on a sunny day, is we're posted here to watch.
Yeah, I used to have to do the fire assessments and health and safety assessments from where I used to work, which was a huge 50-foot high building, looking over the marina. On a hot day, it took me bloody ages to do the aircon checks and just make sure there wasn't anything untoward in any of the vents or intakes.
My
All the
first ever time leaving this country properly, up a couple of day trips to France, was 2 weeks out of season in Tenerife. And the first week that we were there, because it was out of season, we were able to get a 5-star place with its own roof terrace. And even out of season, yeah, that's basically off the coast of Africa. So I was thoroughly enjoying just lying on the roof terrace on a sunbed, reading a book. It was a lovely way to spend some time.
Yeah, it's not like you're responsive to sunlight or anything, Captain SAP.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yes. You have a few scenes of Shrine trying to rub items together to see if anything happens, yes. Rubbing everything on everything, what was I thinking?
So, are you heading back down now, or is there something else you want to do?
I want to have a look around the roof, the parapet, the inside of the parapet, on the side overlooking the courtyard. So basically, the one at the long end.
Okay, yeah. Are you looking for anything in particular?
Yeah, what I'm looking for is chips on the inside of the parapet, which might indicate somebody has grappled up here.
Right, okay. So, make me an intelligence check, I think.
Suddenly remember to roll the right dice. 1. I'm going to take a photo of that.
1.
Buggers aren't going to believe me.
No,
we're well aware of
one's
what
nothing
Rob
special.
do.
In this edition, 1 is nothing special. If you roll exactly your intelligence, that's something special.
Yeah, true. Yes, it is. I know. I'm sorry. No, it's just the way rolls have been happening. Apparently, my out of combat rolls are just fine today.
Okay, so you find 2 places with scratch marks, essentially. Yeah. Your first thought when you find the first one is that yes, someone has used a grapple here. When you find the second one and look at the distance between the 2 and the regularity of their positioning, you realise that what you're looking at here is actually where a ladder has been hooked here at some point.
Oh.
Ah.
How fresh are the chips? Has there been oxidation?
That, unfortunately, you don't know.
Okay. Right, before I go down then, the other thing I want to look for is I am looking for footprints or scuff marks other than my own, specifically on this side. And if I happen to find any food wrappers, that would be ideal. You know, cigarette butts, that sort of thing. Signs that somebody was up here on surveillance.
Okay. So,
Whittlings from somebody who got bored.
I mean, what signs have you left behind from your surveillance?
I haven't, but then I'm a professional and this is kind of what I do. However, an amateur who just thinks this is what they do might not.
right, so you're going to like this. Not a
Okay.
lot.
Okay.
Not a lot.
First off, halve your wisdom.
Now, that's never a good
Right.
start.
Shrine's wisdom is terrible.
Is it worse than knob wobbles?
Yes.
Sucks.
Currently on 5.
I mean, have I got one of the best wisdoms in the party?
Yep.
I have
Okay.
wisdom 16. Then I'm a
I don't
priest,
have the
so-
best then. That's okay.
No. So if you were better than the cleric, I would be really worried.
Look, I had to get in 15 intelligence and 15 wisdom to even play this character.
Yeah. Oh God, prereqs been there.
I had a similar problem. Because I multi-classed, I had to have 3 stats that were higher than a certain thing.
So I'm on -1. So I bottom out at 0.
Bloody hell.
Right. Okay. I'm just looking to see what did I take on my non-weapon proficiencies. Nothing there. Look, I'm giving it a go, okay?
Yeah, the thing
Urban
is,
Rangers can work.
I wouldn't be as in any better position than Shrine, despite the fact that I'm
Yeah.
a ranger, because I'm the wrong sort of ranger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you can track on water. That's fantastic. Look and
How
see
do
how
you
the
even
fish
track
go.
on water, Scott?
Obviously, you look for where the fish are swarming. Oh God! Spot the person who doesn't go fishing. Lots of
Piranhas
fish
do
are
swarm.
swarming. Oh, mate. Okay.
You see that swarm of fish over there?
Yes. You. Oh dear.
This is what the people who made Sharknado.
I'm good at English, okay? I know what words mean. People pay me to write for them. Apparently, those skills have abandoned me today. Yeah,
I
God.
still love what a group of flamingos is called.
A knee?
No, a group of flamingos is called a flamboyance.
Mhm.
Fantastic.
Actually, makes sense.
I still don't understand why English has so many words for various group of very specific animals.
Because you get the Norse one, German one, the French one, the Latin one. Basically, all the bits who've invaded us at any given time.
Sure, but also a murder of crows.
Yes.
Did you actually?
Shit.
It's pretty obvious.
Your chain fish.
It's pretty obvious when Drut rolls a crit of any sort because she makes a very obvious face.
Well, this would be why I lose at poker all the time. How come when I'm GMing I've got a good poker face, but apparently as a human I haven't?
Because when you're GMing, you're no longer human for a short period of time. You've transcended.
Okay, not taking a photo of that. You know that point where my phone crashes and has to be battery yanked? Okay. Jesus. Where the hell did I stitch that? I'm never touching that die again. That one's staying 15. No. Right. Okay, so someone's been up here, but it could be the watch, it could be whoever's on mad control, it could be somebody up sunbathing. Okay. Okay then, I am going to, in that
Check for
case.
sunbathing chairs.
Yeah, I think even I might have noticed those. I am going to. I didn't realise I have a critical face. Sod it. I'm really self-conscious now about how I look.
Oh,
Ah,
Okay.
no, you still don't have the power to murder people by glaring at them.
That wasn't a glare. That was a pleading deer in the headlights. Actually, that was.
Oh, that's what that was.
Yeah. Okay. I think you killed Alexia. Right. I am in that case. I will sling myself over the edge, keeping a fairly low profile. Just when she's climbing, I envision Valeria in Conan. Yeah. Fortunately, that's just their film. Yes, here's a roll in 99. Good. 37. No, that's fine. I've got it 60.
I'm actually.
No, Andrea moved away somewhat, so it's
I'm
not
going to move away
project.
slightly, but I'm going to keep an eye down, like the roadways, just in case something suspicious comes along, like maybe the mobsters that we're trying to.
Yeah,
trap,
so
or the guard, who I suspect won't
Andrea
get
wants Andrea wants to move to basically the corner where the token is, and like look down towards Weeping Maiden's Run.
Wow.
What happened there? Big and cheap.
Does it not that small?
A giant Lucian appears.
Lucian's portrait just makes me smile every time.
It's wonderful, isn't it? It's just, it captures. Like, oh,
It's
hello.
fantastic.
I've got loads of error messages coming.
Yeah,
Yeah, me too. That,
There
That's
has been an
valid.
error, but it doesn't apply. Task failed successfully.
What are these symbols over top of?
I have a giant shield, apparently. Apparently, wait. IFT type kobold goblin. Just imagining.
When Captain
Oh,
Luton
I kind
throws
of miss
his
Sproglet now.
shield.
How many years into the future do we have to go to rescue Sproglet?
Nice, Master.
But will we be able to come back?
Nice, Sword Master. Sproglet make dinner, yes?
That's nostalgic.
Yeah, you never want one of Sproglet's stews. Sproglet, who was once seen wandering past, idly chewing on a severed orc arm. He was still a goblin. I love Sproglet. He was so much fun.
You've got
No, mine's still.
No, we've got a.
Aha!
Okay. Reading my phone.
No,
No, they're gone now.
They're gone now.
Everyone's just got arrows.
We have arrows to where we're facing.
Effects we're under the effect of.
You're under the influence of hell.
Yes.
So,
We can remove the status condition.
so Nob is going to be looking for a corner that is well shaded and easy to hide in, but still have access to being able to hear if anyone shows up to try and break in, so that if she's going to be, or if they're going to be left behind as a sentry, they sit up against the wall and hide.
Oh. You see- Yeah. You see, it's into the commons.
I can't even remember what half the benefits I got from the Cavalier kit is now.
Paladins, as Cavaliers, sorry. It's a really cool kit.
Ah,
Fish. Have you got Fish back now? Apparently you vanished. Audio-wise. To stream. Sounded okay to me,
Sounds okay to me.
but
Yeah.
stream, more than one person has lost you.
I mean, you've been sounding a bit robotic to me all evening, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's okay.
Yeah.
That time you went mute, Fish. Your mouth was still moving, but I couldn't hear you.
loosen the cable.
Right.
Oh, Pippin!
Cats.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to actually, in some way, fix this cable into the bottom of the microphone. It's far too easy to get knocked out.
Pippican.
I see tape in my future.
Yes. Gaffer tape.
Yeah.
Do a fish. Gaffer tape a loop of cable at the side of the monitor. Side of the
Side of the monitor's not going to help me. That's all the way over there.
side of the microphone.
Microphone's here.
Them words. Cat is instantly forgiven. You've never met Pippin, have you?
Okay,
We've
so
seen Pippin.
is anybody doing anything other than looking out for people and trying not to be suspicious?
That's about all cops can do.
Stephen is looking for like a store or something like that.
Well,
The grocery store's right there.
the grocery store. Yeah, you're behind the grocery store. That does mean if you want to go into the grocery store, that means walking all the way past Carps down the alley round to here, where the door to the grocery store is.
Sure, he's gonna stroll. He's just gonna look around completely in awe. Maybe slightly exaggerated, but not that much because it's a big city and he's not a big city boy.
And
So
the cat has come
he's
back.
just gonna stare happily at the architecture and the houses, and he's gonna enter the grocery store and see what's inside. And
Okay,
just strike up a conversation with the people there and see if they're fishy.
right. So there are. They will be
Fishy
fishy because
fishy,
they're played by me. So naturally, they can't be anything else. This is a long, lowish building with a number of shelves. The shelves are slightly too low to be comfortable, to be honest. And you understand why when a halfling with a black crew cut and somewhat garrulous clothing steps out from behind one of the shelves just after you step in.
Hi!
Good afternoon and welcome. What can I do you for?
Hi! I just arrived here and I was strolling through the streets. Oh god, you have such a big town. I was strolling through the streets and I found this place and I was just, what is this? I don't really know where I am very much, but the thing is it's so pretty. And I assume you're grocers?
Absolutely. Welcome to the Garrulous
You-
Grocer. I am Nindle. This is my store.
No.
We
It's
have
lovely
imported
to
goods
meet
here,
you.
so wherever it is that you come from, we can almost guarantee that we can give you a flavour of home, a little taste of where you came from will be here on one of these shelves somewhere. So you have stumbled accidentally on exactly the right place if you want to just
Oh, that's
ease yourself into
perfect.
Waterdavian life and feel a little bit more comfortable.
Oh, that's so sweet of you. I will really have to come here, or like gently prod my sister because she's the botanist among the two of us to come here and take a look at your selection because
Well,
oh,
all of our
they
goods
look
are of
so
the finest
fresh.
quality.
How
We
do you
stand
how
by
do you
all of
get
it.
them so fresh?
Well, this is one of
Is
the major trading ports on the Sword Coast. New goods come in by ship and by cart every day, and we pick only the finest, the very finest from the markets every morning before the sun is even up. I'm there buying stock for that day.
But you're manning the store. How do you do both things? I mean, the distances are so huge. Wow.
Well, I have to leave very early to get. I have to leave very early to get it all done in the morning, and then while I'm there, my wife mans the store, and
Okay,
we
that
take
makes
it in-
sense.
yeah.
I was a bit worried that you might leave the store unattended. And
no. We take
I
on
mean-
all of the tasks together, like a loving couple should.
Oh God.
Aw.
I love this.
That's so cute.
Oh. He's a pen.
Um,
It has to be.
that's honestly, I am very glad to know that because I'm not sure if this area is safe or not, but I see what I assume is a watcher tower.
The watch
So
post
I
next door,
assume
yes. It's quite
It's
recent,
not
though, actually.
that bad of an
That,
area.
that was a warehouse until a few years ago, and now it's a watch post, which is very convenient. My store's been here longer than that, and it was always a fairly safe place, but I do feel a lot better now that there is a watch post just next door. I just have no concerns about wrongdoers at all. They're close enough I can just yell and they'll hear me.
Oh, good.
Sure.
Oh, good. I assume there's guards too at the watchtower, which is awesome. Oh, I am so
Well,
happy
there are
for
watchmen,
you.
certainly.
Watch people. Whatever they're called. Oh, I am really happy to hear that. So you don't see shady people or something. That's good because I keep hearing. So I don't really come from an urban area, and all of the books my sister used to read just talks about the city being this very dangerous place full of miscreants and shady characters.
Cities can be. Waterdeep is one of the safer cities. In fact, the lords do a fantastic job. You know, we have a city guard and we have a city watch. So the watch tend to maintain the peace, and the guard protect us from external threats, which is necessary, to be honest, because underneath Waterdeep there are tunnels or something. I don't know for certain, but apparently there's a lot of bad things down there, and the guard has to make sure they don't come up again. So
Yeah, a friend
that's why
was
you'll see
talking
guard
about,
around as well as watch, because they're just guarding for monsters, really. But it's all good, you know, everything's absolutely fine, and they deal with everything. And the lords are, you know, very good rulers. They keep everything running, ticking over slightly. This may be the only major urban metropolis on the whole of Faerun that doesn't have a thieves guild.
What?
Yep, no guild in Waterdeep.
Odd.
Look, we're just not unionised, okay?
Yeah, I know. Also, there's very low criminality. That's really good to know.
I mean, there are bad elements everywhere, obviously,
I feel so
but
much better now.
we don't have organised crime here.
I mean, there are unsavory people in our neck of the woods too, and there's not a lot of us there. So I wouldn't be surprised to see unsavory people here. Just it makes me feel so much safer, especially because this is a store and I know how to get here. So
Are you staying
I can
locally?
actually do my shopping here whenever, you know, I will need food, and it's gonna be safe.
Yeah. Are you staying near here?
Probably. I am staying a little ways away. There's an inn. Somewhere a few streets away.
The Safe Haven Inn?
Probably. Yes, I think that's the name of the inn.
Yes,
It's-
that's
I know
we
the
supply all their raw ingredients. Actually, everything
that's
is.
perfect.
They have a regular order. Yeah, we just deliver it all, and they have very good cooks there. You'll enjoy that. You will like that.
Do
It's a very
you?
good place. But if you're
Also-
staying for any length of time, I do know that Travis has a rule. That nobody can book a room at the Safe Haven for longer than 10 days. So if
that's good to
you're
know.
planning on staying for a while, you may need to look for somewhere else. There are a couple of boarding houses in the area. There's the Temple of Good Cheer, that's to the north of here. You might be able to get accommodation there. Or Madame Gara, I don't know whether she has anybody staying at the moment, but she runs a boarding house. So yeah, if you are looking to stay for any length of time, it's probably worth checking those out. And always, for your ingredients, if you're cooking for yourself rather than buying a meal, come here.
Oh, yeah.
We have the best.
Definitely.
certainly the best in South Ward, possibly the best in the city.
Do you also supply the pastry store?
I'm not sure where you mean, so I'm going to say no.
No, the store that sells the best Slaughterdeep pastries. It's very close to the safe house. The pastries are really good.
Yeah, no, I actually
Delicious meat pastries.
don't know who you're talking about there, so I'm going to have to find out, because if they're not getting their ingredients from me, they really should be.
They should. They could actually benefit from a bit of an ingredient upgrade, to be honest with you.
Well then, by all means, point them to the Garrulous Grocer. We can do them. I mean, if they're buying on a regular basis, like the Safe Haven, for example, we can do discounts for regular purchases and bulk orders.
I definitely will tell them that as soon as I return, because just between the two of us, they could use an upgrade.
Meanwhile, Shrine has climbed back down from the watch house to discover that everyone's standing around trying not to look shifty, except Stephen, who has disappeared mysteriously. So, do you want to roleplay that end of the things for a bit?
I'm not trying to not look shifty. I'm trying to find a good hiding spot.
Well, that's not looking like you're there, so it works.
Sorry, Nat?
No problem. A thought occurred to me. You know exactly where they were standing when they were here, right?
Yeah.
Point it out exactly.
All
Exactly.
right.
Tell me who was where exactly.
So, this is where the halfling was standing, and she looked like this, and I make a face. This is where one of the big guys was standing, and they looked like this, and I puff out my chest, and like...
Okay, right. Big guy, great.
And the other big guy was standing right here, and do the same thing, because their faces look the same to me. I mean, they're humans.
Right, stop right there. I want to take a look at the 2 points he's pointed out for the big guys, and see if there's anything that hasn't been trampled on that I can identify where they went.
Okay. So, let's just take a quick look at the Sea Ranger
Let's
special
face it,
hindrances.
I'm a ranger, I should be able to do something.
So, your
Yeah.
chance of tracking in a non-aquatic terrain is halved.
Now, I don't know how the tracking skill works, because it appears to be about half of all the others, so is that already taken into account?
Right, okay. Yeah, tracking has a really, really low value there, doesn't it?
Oh, okay.
That looks suspiciously like...
Are you sure?
Yes. But Dad, also, like, I said,
Let me double check this, I think. Yeah, so... Tracking for a ranger, which is what you have got there, is based on wisdom rather than wisdom -6 for anyone else. So your wisdom is 14 and your abilities when in a non-aquatic environment are halved. So it looks like what we've done here is put your tracking skill in at the half level rather than...
So my default is when
So we need to remember to double it when you're at sea rather than halving it when you're on land.
Right, cool. Well, it's a greater than 1 chance, so, you know. Well, fuck me. I would have actually made Drut's tracking chance.
Oh,
Did you also roll a 1?
I have rolled a 1.
Good grief.
So when we get into a fight, we are screwed, because all the good dice are coming out now.
you can guarantee, yeah, you're going to have doomed dice at that point.
You've rolled 1. I've rolled a 1. Oh dear.
Actually, that's my second one of the evening, because the first one I did in Fantasy Grounds was a 1.
Good point.
It's okay, I have 1 spell.
Don't worry, guys. Fantasy Ground hates me in such a way that it knows that I need to roll under for this to work. So now I'm rolling high, but every other game I've rolled really low when I was supposed to be rolling high.
Looking at the modifiers for the tracking
Stop.
skill, there are no real applicable modifiers here. So yeah, you have indeed found underneath all of the scuffling from the fact that there seem to have been maybe 5 or 6 people here quite recently moving around this area a lot. Underneath that, you can definitely find, with that roll, I'm going to give you both larger sets of boot prints that you can identify as not belonging to part of this party and matching the description of 2 big guys who were in this area recently.
Excellent.
You can... So you've made your roll to locate them. Roll again to see how much additional information you can get.
6 out of 7. So
Out of 7, so yeah. Okay, so you find... As you understand it, it looks like they've come in from the north, the alley that Angers has been watching. They have moved down to the alley that you were watching, or at least one of them has moved down there briefly and come back. The other one, or possibly the same one, you're not sure, but one of them also seems to have gone west, heading down slightly, roughly as far as where Knobwobble is hiding in the corner, and then come back. Then they've waited here. No way to tell how long for, although there are scuff marks that indicate that they've shuffled their feet a bit, so they must have been here for a little while, which fits with what you already know. And then they have left north back the same way that they came.
Okay, now all the while Carps is relaying this information, he is walking it through. Almost like in The Princess Bride, Prince Humperdinck identifying what happened in the sword fight.
Yep, no problems.
Walking it through, they came in here, and so on and so forth, and then they left that way. Having literally walked all around that little area himself.
Right. He picks something up, sniffs it. Iocane powder. I would bet my life on it. Okay, make me one last tracking roll.
Computer says no.
Okay.
A whopping 19. That is not.
So yeah, that's all that you've got for the moment then. And that will bring us, I think, roughly up to where Alexia is right now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's all right, we're talking biscuits and chat's fine.
as a whole party, what are we doing? Alexia, Stephen is still missing presumed talking.
I expect the rest of the gang saw Stephen doing his tourist.
Well, they certainly know where you left, yeah, but they don't necessarily know
perfect.
that you went into the grocers, just that you headed down
that's
into grocers.
pretty much what I was asking, if they saw, if Stephen told them.
Yeah, well, you had to go
I'm
past,
going to the store.
before he started his tracking routine, you had to go past Carps to head
Oh, yeah,
down that way.
true.
So he at least will have seen you head down, do the looking around, gazing at things, and
Yeah,
then
this is
amble
more like
to the right.
Carp care enough to look at where Stephen is going.
I'm just waiting to be told who to point my sword at.
Well, I
I
think
haven't had anything to do this session yet.
I feel Lucian so hard in my soul right now.
Honestly, I think we should just stick Lucian on top of the guard tower, and when trouble happens, we can jump down on top of them.
I think Lucian would probably go for that plan.
Right?
Just shouting for you there, scoundrels! Dramatic pose as he jumps down.
I want to do the 3-point landing.
The lighthouse.
Honestly, that would be the best time for Robin to roll in Nat 1, because he would do a 3-point landing.
Oh, yes.
So, unless anyone wants to go and follow said group, I think we should probably head back to let Travis know what we have found.
Yes.
And take advice as to where to go from there.
Yeah, any discoveries we make are going to be pointless if only our rotting corpses know.
I will say now to you, Shard, that you're now getting hunger and boredom from Jitterbug.
Oh, yeah, come back.
If you instruct her to keep watching, she'll keep watching, but
Nope.
She's definitely not happy with it
I'll
anymore.
send her back later just to check on the halfling. We know where they're going to hit now, so.
And if nothing
I'm
else,
not
she
sure.
can guide you to where she left. If it's not the same place, she can guide you to where where she last saw the
Now, she can
halfling
come
anytime
back
you
and
wanted to.
feed. I wasn't forgetting about her. I was just, waiting for her to tell me that she needed food.
You forgot.
Yeah.
Little bit. Okay, can we head out south?
Yeah.
We can. They went north.
Yeah.
Why are we going south?
If we are headed back to the inn to report on what we found so far before we go
Fair enough.
throwing ourselves into anything potentially dangerous, and also I want to have a look at the sewer drain in front of the grocers for reasons.
Fair enough.
Oh, I can move myself.
Yes, because these tokens actually connect to your characters.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well done, fish.
It's the only way I found to put them on there. Well, I did finally find a way to put them on there that does connect to your character as well. Now, yeah. So this drain is exactly that. It is a drain. It's not a sewer entrance.
Okay.
Although with probably making a bit of noise and a little bit of work with a crowbar and maybe a pickaxe, you could almost certainly get the drain open.
Right.
But it's not an official sewer entrance.
Right.
Well,
so-
that sure sounds discreet. Just a pick hammer, a bit of a jackhammer, a crowbar.
To be honest, a crowbar, a pick, and a silence 15-foot radius spell, and everybody's happy.
You're not wrong.
Do you think construction projects in D&D hire wizards to just
If-
constantly cast
Construction
silence-
projects taking place in high-class residential areas almost certainly have silence spells cast on them. Yeah, it just makes sense.
It does. I love that.
Oh my god, can you imagine one of the construction workers just learning the silent spell just to get ahead, to get a better paid job?
It is, yeah.
Just dual
you can
classes
get
and
the
takes a
bonus.
level of wizard.
Yeah.
Get the spell bonus.
There'd
on
probably
your,
be specialists trained to work in a silent environment, because it's obviously not safe on a construction
yeah.
site not being able to hear anything.
I keep forgetting that the silent spell silences everything inside the radius.
Yep, no sound at all within that 15 foot. It's not just, I'm silent now.
Yeah. Okay.
We at one point, actually, we were discussing, many years ago, we were discussing the idea of using silence spells as a form of Morse code. You cast them in the appropriate locations up a tower, then drop somebody off the top, and their scream would go in and out in Morse code as they went down.
Just do SOS as
Yeah. Secret of the Slaver's Stockade, I think, was the game we were playing at the time.
Yeah. I think we were working out how much airtime you'd have.
Yeah.
And how close you to
How long a message could you send with the amount of time that you got?
Yeah.
And how many people to continue throwing over to repeat the message.
If you send a longer message, you've got to play somebody else, yeah.
Okay.
I see nothing wrong with that.
Of course you
Person
wouldn't.
you throw off as a mute.
It's interesting, the
Okay.
ideas that one comes up with while playing good aligned characters and pretending that they really are still good aligned.
Didn't actually do it. That means that they're still good.
No, you didn't actually do it, that's true.
It'd have to be a far too unpractically tall tower. That just came out wrong. Right. Okay. So the third edge, you can make it cantrip. It's much lower range, smaller radius, unlimited numbers.
No, it's Pathfinder
So-
has unlimited numbers.
So yes, I was thinking Pathfinder. I was thinking
Yeah.
Pathfinder and reading the third ed book I've got directly in
'Cause
my
the-
eyes.
Pathfinder cantrip rules are so broken.
Okay.
Can I hide this magic from the Pathfinder party? No, because they will be running detect magic at all times.
I'm still going to blind somebody with that at some stage.
Yeah, it's basically the only thing you can do is you hit them with the you can't see properly because there's too much magic around routine is the only way to discourage them.
Yes. You introduce them to any high-level adventurer. They're just there going, okay, yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So yeah, I guess we head back to the inn.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
yeah. So yeah, you can head east along Grocer's Lane and then cut down around the Silversmiths. I think I said that was, didn't I? Number 11. Yep. To the back door of the Safe Haven Inn, which is how you originally got in there.
So, in terms of environment and ambiance, you did say that the grocer was actually crowded. So there are people on the street wandering about, yeah?
It's more crowded with stock, but you are seeing people around. This is an ordinary day. There are definitely people about. In the time that you have spent lurking around the back there,
Lurking.
you have spotted people walking past the ends of the alleys. Nobody's actually come out to the area where you were because you were very much in a little back court.
Sure.
But there are definitely people around doing things, living their normal lives and carrying about their normal activities. In almost certainly, as you are studying the drain in Grocer's Lane, there's a good chance that somebody will see you. With that roll, indeed, somebody will. Let me just pick a random inhabitant of the Adventurers' Quarter.
It's gonna be Lucian's new master.
Okay. Down, you in character do not know the name, but Snake Alley, you can see there, heading down south at the end of Grocer's Lane.
Comes into Pliskin Place.
You see what is either a young man or a tomboyish girl, it's hard to tell because of the distance that you're at, who comes out of the gap between 18 and 17 and scoots across Snake Alley to head out through the along the edge of AQ19,
Okay.
heading out of the area, and they stop at the corner of AQ19 for a bit to look at you with their body language says, what on earth are those weirdos doing? And then there's a sort of a shake of the head and off they scoot down the other end of the other part of Snake Alley.
Yeah,
Could have been a problem.
My feet roll enough to be standing there in the open. Oh wait, no, sorry. Professional courtesy. My eyes.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that this is an entire district full of retired heroes.
Not an entire district full of retired heroes. The Grocer wasn't a retired hero.
That we know of.
Yeah.
Or it didn't claim to be anyway, yeah.
But we never met the wife.
Yeah.
She
This
may
is
have
true.
saved him
For
as
all-
a damsel in distress.
For all you know, the wife is a paladin, yeah.
Seemed very, very chill about it. I would like to point out how chill the guy seemed. Just no problems. Oh yeah, there may be some unsavory types, but
That was an interesting noise, actually.
I'm good at strangled cat sounds. What can I say?
But hands over Pippin's ears before you say that, please. Okay. Okay then. Right.
So,
basically,
I assume that Stephen will have come out of the Grocers while you're
and
studying
we'll tell
the.
everyone about the events of the store. He'll be like, so the watchtower is pretty recent. Uh, these people, this guy just seemed to see this neighborhood even before the watchtower as being super safe. No risk. Everything is fine. There is no official thieves guild, which probably everybody besides me knew.
They told you that there's no official thieves guild.
Yes.
I love the idea of an
Because-
official thieves guild. By approval,
That doesn't mean
thieves of
that there's
Waterdeep.
not- That doesn't mean that there's
Thieves
not
guild
an
is the jail.
official thieves guild.
Yeah, it's basically there's no established unionized thieves guild, which sure is a thing.
I think
That's just because our justice is great.
I can't use the NUT because teachers would object.
any organized crime is not going to want to advertise that there is organized crime in a city that is trying to pretend that there is no organized crime.
I think actually there's the
good
perfect name for Thieves Guild here, because it's the Waterdeep Union of Thieves, obviously. Which,
Of course.
just when you ask about Thieves Guilds, they just reply with the name. Is there a Thief Guild in town? What?
What?
I like.
I will ask you again, having cast Zone of Truth, so you must answer truthfully. What is the Thieves Guild in this city?
Correct. Oh no, and now we're into the
Alternatively, the answer is yes. What is the Thieves Guild in this city? Yes.
Yes.
I love that so much. Yeah, Stephen is gonna be like, so the guy really loved this city. Like, you know how fondly I talk about the birds in the forests at home? Yeah, that's pretty much how this guy talked about his city, or whatever, about this city. It was like, oh, this is the best place on earth. But he was really enamored, like a tourist seeing the most touristy spots for the first time, sort of enamored.
Those of you who are native Waterdavians will know that Waterdavians are very proud of their city. It has its flaws, yes, but it is not called the City of Splendors for nothing.
True.
Even the crime is splendid.
Yeah.
Indeed.
It is splendidly put out by my blade of justice.
I know that Lucian was inspired by a villain, but I feel Lucian so hard.
I just have an image in my head, I must admit. Just issue 1, Blade of Justice, Lucian on the front cover in a striking pose.
Oh no, that's Lucian hiring an artist in 10 years' time.
Oh no.
Once his deeds are
Oh, so
no,
much.
and it becomes a Pulp Penny Press. So.
Oh no.
I love that so much.
Oh god. I can see it.
So after we rescue this girl, Lucian is going to be offered a job as a model for the cover of the first issue of magazine.
Of course.
It's Vanity Press. It's
Absolutely Vanity Press, yeah.
Lucian covers it under the necessary expenses of advertising.
I will endorse this magazine if on the back page there's a damsel section.
Oh my god, what damsel?
Where obviously where the damsels send in fan letters for Lucian to respond
No,
to.
you know what it is? It'll be, instead of the ads at the back, you'll
Are
have...
you seriously suggesting you want a reader's damsel section in your mind?
I'm just thinking in terms of, if you've heard of a damsel in distress, send it in. And then local heroes can apply to rescue them.
Why do I now have the image of the Equalizer style advert for Lucian? Are you in trouble? No one else can help. Call the Blade of Justice.
Oh god. Oh no.
I think action is an exaggeration there, Shard Angel.
Oh God.
As is usual with our sessions, you missed a lot of talking.
Oh Lordy dicks.
But not a
Okay.
whole lot of plot.
Weapon has yet to be drawn in anger, which is not typical for AD&D Second
No.
Edition. It's got to be said.
I'm sorry, Reader's Damsels is now going to stay with me. Thank
I mean,
for that.
to be fair, the only person in this group that would draw a weapon for any reason before thinking about it is Lucian.
Yes.
This is true.
That's true.
The rest
I
of us.
haven't encountered anyone to draw a weapon at yet.
Actually, no. Stephen has been very suggestively.
It's a lot of talking about stabbing going on there, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, don't rat me out.
So we reconvene with Travis.
Yes.
Um,
Okay. Do you want to do the talking? Because
well, if you want to
More
start,
area
and then
than mine.
Andre will back up
Cat,
with the
get out of my
evidence.
way.
okay.
Okay, well, when you get back to the safe haven,
It's been burnt to the ground.
Travis is not present. Instead, if you just give me a moment.
Is it a damsel?
No.
That
Call the wife
depends.
terrified.
Depends on how you define a damsel. At
Someone
first
dating in need of
glance,
rescue.
at first glance, you could possibly mistake her for a damsel, but not by that description. I don't think. Let me just find you the description of who is there. Really helps when you're looking people up in a list of people in alphabetical order. It helps if you can remember their name.
Okay.
Right, so description. A tall, regal human woman with short, curly chestnut locks, deep brown eyes, and a... Nope, that says all too rare. You haven't seen it yet. She's wearing... She's wearing, to be honest, peasant garb. Modest, practical, not expensive looking dress. However, it is still, although it is modest, it is still cut sufficiently that you can see she has a quite impressive physique, martially speaking, rather than aesthetically speaking.
Yeah, I'm glad you clarified that.
The sleeves are quite short, and those are arms that look like they've hefted a few heavy objects in their time. In fact, on closer inspection, when you actually start talking to her, those are hands that are calloused from wielding weapons.
Not a damsel then.
I like
Not a damsel by
Definitely a
your
damsel.
definition, certainly.
It's a damsel who distresses, and I can cope with that.
Unless you ignore the calloused hands, then you can just pretend.
Honestly, even sword ladies sometimes can be distressed. Sometimes they just need a hug.
Yes, but a sword lady would not be a damsel, because damsels, by definition, don't really take care of themselves. Sword ladies, on the other hand, kick everyone's ass. So,
I mean, look, sometimes even a damsel, even a sword lady needs some emotional.
even a sword lady needs a hug.
Yes,
Damsel
yes.
just mean a young single woman.
Yeah.
See, see.
We're talking about the Lucian dictionary of definitions here.
Oh god.
It's okay. One day, Stephen will give Lucian a hug. Probably not Stephanie, but Stephen definitely will.
That's just so you can stick the knife in the back.
Do not rat me out.
I hadn't realised that actually was a plan, but never mind. Now I'm scared.
Oh,
I
you've
mean,
got to love when you're
honestly-
flicking through a list of NPCs and you see the name Hallister. That's not who I'm looking for.
Yes. Hallister, the deeply unstable.
So this person is in the inn.
Yes, she is behind the bar where Travis was earlier. And she looks at you as you come in. It's not a flattering look.
Oh, hello. You're rather tall.
You must be the adventurers Travis talked about. Let me tell you now, I do not approve of him offering you money. Nor do I approve of him giving you credit.
Oh,
Can we help you with some chores around here?
Sorry, did she actually say her name?
Nope.
I just glitched out.
She hasn't introduced herself, no, that's all she said.
Okay. To be honest, I would be as happy paying up front. How much would rooms cost for, say, a 10-day?
For 3 rooms, that will be 75 gold pieces, thank you.
You lot paying me back.
Can I just, like, side away from this group and ask for some free lodging as part of my cavalier?
You can try.
Oh, dear God.
But Lucian is about justice, sneaking away from paying and hanging out with people that you're supposed to be protecting.
This is no, I'm not sneaking away from paying. They are doing an honourable thing by providing me with lodging so that I may solve their issues.
Oh, God.
Shrene,
As you consider that,
I've got this.
you realise she's looking at you.
Okay.
Specifically, Lucian, at you.
No.
You actually look like you may be of some value. Do I know you?
Sorry, who were you? Who was she looking at?
Lucian.
Sorry.
God, I will stab her so badly.
Higher level than all of us put together. Twice.
Ah, there's her level.
But she looks scary.
So what? Everybody gets a dagger to the throat.
So is this where we have combat?
Oh, God.
with the high-level adventurer. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Einhart, isn't it?
Indeed.
You
Yes.
know him?
I know of him. Yes, you would be of more use with that blade if your master had actually been willing to pay my rates.
Are you a trainer or a blacksmith? No offense either way.
I am a trainer.
I could tell you were someone who knew your way around weapons. I
So,
simply wasn't sure, but-
Lucian, would you like to make me a Waterdeep Law 1 roll?
Okay. Is this under skills? Or-
This will be under skills, yes.
I do need that. Ah, failure by 1.
I'm going to give it to you, but I will give you less information. You suddenly connect the name. You'd heard her husband's name, Travis Deepdale, and it just took you this long, and that exchange for you to connect. I've forgotten her bloody name. Vona Deepdale, influential paladin of Torm and instructor at the what's the place called? I've forgotten the name of the damn place. Sorry about this. I really should be able to remember it. I literally read this 30 seconds ago. I really should know it. Oh yes, the Field of Triumph. So basically, yeah, she is very well regarded among the martial instructors within Waterdeep, and a ranking paladin of Torm.
Yeah.
But she's all about justice too. Fellow
Right.
justice nut.
Paladin of Torm, pretty much, yeah.
Well, at least
And-
Tom
and-
is
and
true
re-
instead
reminder
of Helm is obsessive.
Yeah. Reminder for those who may not be familiar with 2nd edition. At this stage in the D&D history, paladins still have to be lawful good.
So paladins still have to be
Lawful good.
right.
Yeah. At, later on, I think it was 4th edition where they lost the requirement to be lawful good.
Yeah, I think so.
I've never played 4th edition, and I'm kind of glad I didn't.
As I said to the other group the other day, 4th edition is a good tabletop skirmish game. It's just not D&D.
Yeah. Shrine, as I've just put into chat, is making use of hiding shadows and basically sort of scooching behind Lucian because a paladin looking at her it's not a good idea.
I mean, Shrine could hide behind anybody who's not the person directly talking to the paladin.
Yeah.
I mean, I can hide by just going underneath the counter.
Yeah, but
I just made a joke
Lucian is
earlier
about the only
about
person taller
Lucian
than Shrine.
finding a new master, but this is like super close.
This is exactly what you'd be looking for, really, isn't it?
It just fell right into your lap.
Fish, I'm not sure if you caught because I said it just as you were kicking off into the Lucian bit, but I said to Shrine, I've got this.
I did catch that. I'm not sure whether Drat did.
I did, but I was waiting until people shut up. So. Yeah. But no, it's yeah. I could, but that would be almost all my money.
Yeah, if Carps is going to stamp up the 75, she will accept it without a word. I have a question for you, Einhard. Why are you here? Have you abandoned your master?
Funny story behind that.
No. Well, you see, much to my dismay, he has passed on during a ill-fated venture into the Under, and I have since come into the acquaintance of these passable characters.
I see.
And we've recently heard of some not so savoury folk preparing for some unlawful activity in the area, and I have come to put an end to such activity, as well as save a poor damsel that is suffering from the beguiling will.
Oh god.
Just face bomb, just throw me off. Yes, exactly.
I begin to understand Travis's thinking, perhaps. We have no need of your assistance, any of you. However, Travis is a romantic. Waterdeep law, what for?
To identify her myself. Because her name's still not been identified.
Okay, yeah, you'll need a... I'll give you a penalty because you don't have as good a reason to know as Lucian. So I'm going to say -3 to your Waterdeep law.
Okay, so I need 11s or less on a d20. That's cool. And I rolled a 6. So,
okay. So yeah, you'll have less detail, but you will know that Vona Deepdale is an instructor at the Field of Justice and a paladin of Torm.
To be
honest, and a former
Tormites,
adventurer.
Yeah, Tormites are the kind of people I don't necessarily hang out with. Knowing where they are and where they can be found is probably a survival skill.
How to avoid them.
Yes.
I thought Travis owned this place.
I believe it was mentioned that Travis and his lady wife co-owned.
So this is going to be one of those marital argument things. Well, we already paid for the rooms. They're ours. Whether you need help or not, we're going to solve the problem before you can because you're standing here manning the shop.
Let me clarify. The rooms are ours. You have paid for use of them. We have full rights under Waterdeepian law to revoke that right of use at any time by paying you the remainder of your fee.
At least we get the money back.
However, as I was saying,
they're from out of town.
Travis is a romantic. And you are obviously adventurers. Obviously you are new to the business. And
You
I
wish.
think he is probably just trying to give you...
Two of us
A
got
foot
Lucian
up.
out of the Underdark alive.
You can tell by all the rookie errors we're making.
That
You
you
know-
survived a trip to the Underdark is under the mountain is
Mountain, yeah.
is impressive. However, I still await a good explanation for why you have returned and the rest of your expedition has not. Nevertheless, that is not what we're here to discuss at the moment. I will approve Travis's offer of payment and your actions. But I will say one thing. If you mess this up, and I or Travis have to deal with it in your stead, you will get nothing.
Which entirely makes sense.
I was not expecting anything in the first place.
Shut up, Lucian.
Knobwobble is so concerned about Lucy actually looking at
That
this
shut up
person.
Wesley moment.
Like, Lucian, a bit eccentric, bit the wrong direction in terms of thinking about people. But this paladin, I don't like her.
Yeah.
I like the
I
paladin
like
more than you lot.
I don't trust Tormites. They scare me. Tormites also didn't notice their entire temple had been taken over by it.
Well, yeah, I mean, there is
That's-
that.
I'm not convinced that that's
Great
canon in my
Adventures of
Forgotten
Waterdeep.
Realms.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because I was going to ask, it's like, how much of, like, the antipathy towards Torm and his clergy in the wake of the Time of Troubles is there?
Which I know Helm was the one who caused most trouble because he was an arse. Sorry, I played a lot of Mistress. Okay, so Helm was the one who killed killed Mistra, not Midnight. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
Well, I mean, but Helm was only doing his job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Torm,
but a
if
lot
I
of people
recall,
just
was
don't
also
get that.
And Tormites are famously rigid, if I recall.
Yes, God of
Even
Duty.
by
Yeah,
paladin standards.
Torm, the true god, the brave, the foolish, the loyal fury.
Yeah.
Portfolio, duty, loyalty, obedience, and
So it's
paladins.
Lucy and the deity.
It is a bit Lucian the deity in many ways, yeah. If Lucian follows a particular god above the others, it's likely to be Torm, to be honest.
Yeah, I would have imagined it with Torm or Helm.
Yeah. Patron god of paladins and those who face danger for a greater good.
Yeah.
So they do have a bit of an attitude, it's got to be said.
I've played paladins. I've never played a Tormite. I can never quite bring my paladins to be that.
I've only NPC'd paladins, and most of them were like the very traditional idiot side of lawful good with the harmonium.
Fair enough.
Because nobody likes the harmonium.
I like paladins. They're a challenge, but the really obsessive end of paladin, that's hard. That is where you get into the idiocy above all.
Okay. According to Faiths and Avatars, Torm's popularity is actually increasing in the wake of the events of the Time of Troubles. He benefits from an enthusiastic following of worshippers who appreciate his unswerving devotion to serving mortals, unusual for a deity, and a number of fighting orders and paladins who have devoted themselves to the true god.
Yeah, that I can
Right,
see.
okay.
So, yeah. Torm is one of those gods who started out as a mortal.
Yeah,
and his
Those are the best kind, unless they're evil.
his devotion
Yeah.
to Tyr basically saw him deified after his death.
Oh, that was it. Yes. It's Torm, Tyr, and Helm, aren't they? The big
Yeah, the triad.
deities. I suppose the dead
I always
three.
preferred Torm, Tyr, and Tempest personally, but then I
Yeah.
just think of Tempest.
I like Tempest. Tempest is fun.
Yes, he is.
Tempest is fun. Tempest is fun because he sponsors the Red Knight, and the Red Knight is a very interesting deity.
I have had the most fun with the Cleric of Tempest. She was.
The Red Knight came up in one of the campaigns that I played in, because I was playing a paladin. I didn't know anything about the Red Knight or what it was. The way that the characters were put together, we had our abilities, we knew who and what we were. We didn't know where our powers came from or what was going on, and had to learn about that through the game.
Nice. I like that form of thing.
Yeah.
But yes, Red Knight, goddess of strategy.
Yes. Well, I had a character whose holy symbol was her 6 foot two-hander. So never
I've gone a
messed
little bit more subtle than that. I'm using a bastard sword rather than a two-hander on the Thursday group.
Okay. Right. I'm addressing the lady, and I'm doing so fairly politely and in as business-like a manner as I can manage. Well, in the interest of preventing injustice and getting us out from under your feet as soon as possible, what can you tell us about the couple who run the Garrulous Grocer? Because it seems to me that they are being targeted, or at least their neighbours are being targeted for a theft.
Their neighbours?
Well, there's a small house backing onto their shop. I'm not sure if it's theirs or whether it belongs to someone else.
Yes, that would be theirs.
Well, it has a symbol above the door saying, "Please burgle here."
Does it? And you know this how?
We investigate. It's what we do.
Exactly.
I pipe up at this moment. Good lady, as you can see, I am an adherent of Denier. I have the power of my lord allows me to understand and interpret these symbols.
Yes, with the power of Denier, and the interpretation of such thieves' remarks would be a simple matter, of course.
Exactly. Our colleague Onzo is extremely observant. So, yes, we believe that they are in danger of not only being robbed, but also that they can expect no help from the adjacent guard building.
Travis said that you believed there to be a problem in the watch house.
Yes.
Again, we detected symbols which indicate that aid could be found within the guardhouse, and I don't mean a nice big sign.
I see.
Could be interpreted by those of a less than lawful disposition. I'm really playing up the fighter end of Fighter Thief here at this
I
stage.
may have underestimated you, but you did make a good impression on the old bear, so perhaps I should have given you more credit to begin with. Very well.
Don't take credit.
Travis and I stand ready to assist should you need it, but I will trust you, for now at least, to deal with this situation. I assume that you have warned the grocers?
That is the next thing we will be doing.
So you were at their place, and you came here rather than warning them?
It's a short walk, and we're heading back in that direction anyway to hopefully intercept the thieves before they can do any harm.
Honestly, it's mostly a matter of gathering more information from you about them.
We thought it best to inform Travis of this, lest we interrupt a better plan of action by alerting them.
I see.
But rest assured, we will be warning them. But we simply wished to know what kind of people they were, whether they themselves were trustworthy, or perhaps whether they were potentially engaged with nefarious forces. I would hope not. They seemed nice.
I have never heard anything untoward about the Jalbucks.
I would take her lady's verification as a sign of trust then. Okay, we can talk to them.
Hey, I know they're supplying you with vegetables. So I assume you have a pretty long-standing You have a pretty long-standing relationship with them.
Well,
Can
Travis does.
Can you tell us if there's anything that maybe they're investing time in protecting?
Not that I've
Like
ever heard
anything
of.
that would draw attention for a thief or an adventurer.
Nindle runs a successful grocery business. He
but
sells
it's a
both
grocery
locally and to some establishments outside of the Adventurers Quarter. His wife is a skilled healer, so she also brings in additional money on that basis. It may be that simply that they have enough gold stashed away to attract attention.
And if
in
they are,
the adventurer's quarter.
and if they are unlikely to pay, if they have been approached as well and have not chosen not to pay for protective services, then obviously they may be made an example of.
They are a local business, so they would be potentially on the list of targets for these ne'er-do-wells.
They seemed on the extreme side of unconcerned about it. Like they were extremely proud of them being. Oh, I see what you mean now. They didn't shake these people up. They want to make them an example to get money from the rest of them. Oh.
Maybe.
There
Wow.
is another consideration that I cannot speak to, but that might be worth investigating. Gelbrook's storehouse is rather larger than is necessary for his business. I've never heard anything about what else he may use it for, but perhaps there is something.
Well, we'll have to ask nicely and hope that we won't get into too much trouble. Thank you for that. Right. I would say it's probably time for us to move out again.
Indeed. The question is,
Should we organize a diversion until the stealthier ones go check out the storehouse?
What you
Did you
reckon?
just suggest that someone
I-
break into the storehouse in
Yeah.
advance of time?
No.
More importantly, did you just suggest that in front of the paladin?
No.
Yeah, I was getting annoyed at
Have we
Hold
moved
on.
away to have that discussion? I hope.
Hold your horses, paladins. I didn't suggest breaking and entering. I suggested scouting.
No.
Also, in terms of scouting, if we talk to the grocer first,
He said,
and we go in and set up shop there, we're already set up before they come in and can take them out and ask them questions.
Might I
Yeah.
suggest that if you are going to scout, you scout the villains, not the victims?
exactly.
We're not scouting the victims, we're scouting the target for good hiding places to take out
Where?
the villains.
Yeah.
The distinction between target and victim is only one of time.
Perhaps this is a conversation we should be having with the grocer and his good lady wife.
Yeah, that's
I agree.
true. We just want to protect them, damn it.
Contrary to appearances, you do appear to be rather more sensible than your companions.
Somebody has to keep them alive. Right.
Even if she is rather unsavory.
Standing here in armour with a
Yeah.
rapier and you're calling me unsavoury.
What, you want to have a go?
Did Lucian just say, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough?
To me.
Are you
No,
going
because
towards
he was responding to an out of character comment, so therefore I'm calling that an out of character comment as well.
That was
Otherwise,
very much
Lucian has
out of character.
apparently developed telepathy and is now reading Shrine's mind.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was out of character, don't worry. Right.
perhaps
I
we
just
could-
imagine that Shrine and Karps's whole opinion of Lucian
Can-
just reads on their faces.
Perhaps
They
we
just
should
get
discuss our
that
approach.
very blank stare.
Yeah. Sorry, Gwyneth?
Perhaps we should discuss our approach in a little more detail before we venture out and make our offer to.
But either way, let's do it over there
Yes.
and get out
We
from
don't need
under.
to. We don't need to take up more bar space.
What's the respectful term to refer to a paladin of higher station?
Lady, isn't it?
That's a good question. I mean, lady
Sir,
will work.
ma'am?
Yeah, let me see whether there is a specific thing listed under the Church of Torm.
Yeah, there
Clearly
was.
not, or you skivvy.
Yeah.
Because that's a good way to get skewered.
No, I don't think she's skewers. I think she would just turn us into chutney with her bare hand.
It's okay, I will stab her. Like not in a very stealthy
Okay,
way, just stab.
Not sure whether the same titles would be used by paladins as by priests.
Yeah, it depends on whether she's actually clergy or not. Because if she's just like one of the knightly orders or so, then probably just lord or lady.
So yes, I think I'm going to say that you're safest just sticking with lady. There are a number of both titles and ranks used within Torm's priesthood, but you're not aware of whether she actually possesses any of them.
Yeah. I mean, you could try and be obsequious and say something like loyal sword or something like that, but
yeah.
Oh, cool damsel.
I mean, they got some wonderful titles: Watchful Venturer, Door Warden, Revered Messenger. There's some great ones. There really are.
Faith Blade is one I really like.
I just love how all of you assume the fact that Lucian would actually know those titles and not be like make something extremely cool up.
I wouldn't put it past Lucian, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because there is nothing cooler than the official.
Although he doesn't have religion as a skill, I'm fairly certain. A lot of these titles and ranks, more the ranks than the titles, are likely to turn up with regards sort of knightly etiquette and heraldry, and those he does have.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
So he may not know how it relates to the religion, but he would probably know those ranks in terms of them appearing on battlefields.
The important stuff, basically. Nobody needs that bureaucracy. Are we leaving the building then?
No, we'll head over to one
Or
of the
are we-
tables.
Okay, if you're moving over, then I
There
would like
are-
to just make one last passing remark towards the honourable lady.
Okay.
I would be happy to provide you with the information about how my master came to his end if you wish to speak in future.
Yes, when this business is over with, I think we will talk.
In that case, I shall now segue off to join these ragtag bunch.
Okay, I just
So-
realised we've gone through and we haven't had any comfort break and it's now 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it is, and we haven't. And since we've got to a point where I think now a little bit of planning and discussion and then actually possibly acting on something, I will leave it up to you guys whether you want to do some planning now and then end the session, or whether you want to end the session and spend the 3 weeks thinking about what the plan may be and passing messages back and forth on Discord over it.
Can we
Planning on Discord sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, it does. Put some effort into this instead of coming off
The plan is
something
to
off
make
the
a
cuff.
plan.
Yeah.
Yes,
The plan is to throw Lucien at it, and it'll be just fine.
Yeah,
Throwing Lucian as the bait.
it's
The bait
the
was what?
only.
The guards, because I actually had an idea for distracting the guards.
Excellent.
Oh no.
There
We
is
can each
an-
create our own version and see which one of them actually works.
So there is on Discord, on the hint Discord, there is a Hint Plays out of character discussion channel. So it's OOC discussion as listed, which is intended for exactly this kind of planning, talking about game events between sessions. So I would suggest, rather than cluttering up the Slaughterdeep channel, which can be used more for organising the game, that would be the ideal place to discuss these sorts of things.
Yeah.
Is there anything else anybody wants to do or talk about before we end the stream?
I think that's a convenient spot.
Yep. We're back
Okay.
on track. We know what we're doing, ish. Or we can sort it out by next session.
Yeah.
And I can put a poll up on Twitter to see whether people want me to make you fight the entire watch patrol and then have to justify yourselves to the lords.
Please put
I
the
would
option
never.
to come back and fight the Lady Paladin in there too.
No, that would be very disarming, Fish, if I didn't know you meant it.
No, I would never. I would never let an audience make a decision like that because, or actually, I might, but only with a select audience like we have. I would never put it out on Twitter where it's open to more people because you know that most people are just going to say, "Yay, fight! Make them do the horrible."
Make them into chutney.
Yeah, I mean,
It'll
you
be
end
the
up.
initiation duel.
Yeah, you end up. It's the Twitter is the kind of place where Lucian's new master ends up being called Knight McKnightface or something.
Ouch. Okay.
I mean, Lady Frogilla did have.
Yeah, Lady Frogella.
Yeah.
So thank you all for playing. I hope you've enjoyed this session.
Yes,
thank
very
you,
much.
everybody, both live and in VOD, for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I promise we will actually have some action at some point. Maybe they'll even have a fight next time. Who knows? So we'll be back with this in 3 weeks.
I think we're doing a really good job not getting to the action. So the longer we pull it out, the more frustrated you're going to get.
Well,
and the
your
worse-
first level characters, avoiding a fight as long as possible is a good idea. But unfortunately, you've also somehow got to become second level characters, so you may have to fight somebody somewhere down the line.
And there's a limit to how much I can steal. Oh wait, no, there really isn't.
Well, if all goes according to plan, we're supposed to be playing Deadlands on Wednesday.
Oh God, are we?
Where it has rather snuck up a bit quick. If people want to put it off and do it at a later date, because there's been stuff going on in the meantime and nobody's thought about it since we did the initial session 0, then I am okay with that because I haven't really thought about it either. But we can sort that out on Discord.
Yeah.
Next week.
Oh.
Yes. I shall be resuming the GM's chair for a playtest of my new system. Those of you who have been around for a while may remember that I did a playtest of a hack for the White Wolf game, or rather the Onyx Path game Scion, last year. I have taken the rules from that, adapted it into something a little bit more freeform, and we will be returning to the Forgotten Realms for an adventure that I am calling A Knight's Tale.
Ouch.
And Drut will be Drut Anshard will be joining me for that, along with Felix and Izumi. Yeah.
I look forward to watching that.
As do I.
Like Knight, part of my reasoning for letting other people play on that is to try and keep my Forgotten Realms and your Forgotten Realms separate in my head.
Yeah, you see, now I feel guilty about volunteering to play.
If I were a player in this game, I'd have been more likely to jump in on Chrono's game. But I don't want to suddenly have things from his game appearing in the background because I've misremembered where they came from when I'm running this.
Yeah, the question I have, Ron, is whether or not this version of Forgotten Realms is going to still coexist with my previous version of Forgotten Realms, because I have run a lot of campaigns that have all coexisted in the past. So.
Realms lends itself really well to multi-threaded campaigns.
Exactly.
Yeah, it does.
Also, you don't need to feel guilty about volunteering for a game when there was 2 open slots for 3 weeks.
Yes.
This is true.
I just don't want to take a chair if somebody else wants it, but I really want to play, so there's that.
Yeah. So yeah, I look forward to running that. What will hopefully be a 2 or a 3 session game. I'm hoping. But we know what this group is like with one shot. So,
Yes, yeah. 2 or 3 session games. So we'll
Very
round about, I think, the end of August, we should be moving on from that. But that's only if we play it every week.
Okay.
Right, yeah. So leave us call it a day there. Thank you again, everybody, and
Thanks for playing with me.
and good night.